Hello and welcome back to The Rising Dawn, A Merchant's Revenge. I'm R, your Dungeon Master for this evening. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yep. Let the adventure begin. We catch up with the Dawnbringers after arriving in Ferguson, a quaint and colourful trade town on the southern shores of the Chased Lake. Tasked with reclaiming a nearby fortress from the local smuggling outfit in order to repay a debt to Sylvette Marion, a woman Cassian wronged in the past, the party set out exploring Ferguson in search of allies and aid for the endeavour. This saw Cassian roped into designing a cow raylon costume for a local cow parade in exchange for some enchanted goods, before their search led them to stopping an onslaught of animated armour at the local Smith's Guild, and chasing after a bloodthirsty fey creature all the way out of town to the nearby Stalingrad farm. Trying to secure a way to sneak into the fortress in the farmer's tithe, they by chance were able to save a small tiefling boy and his dog from running out in front of a careening stagecoach that came flying down the western road far too fast. Astra was stunned into silence to discover that this boy was actually his nephew, living in a house his father built during his own coming-of-age pilgrimage, a secret kept for 28 years. Joining the young boy and his mother, the party was led into Melora's wood to the twisted oak tree planted by Astra's father, and the nature-worshipping commune living around it. Deciding to split up to give Astra some time here to process the information, Cassian, Vanden and Sariel were caught off guard by an arrow shot towards them at the edge of the forest. A note wrapped around it meant for Cassian. "We've been watching you. It's time to meet." You look around yourself and see nothing and no one who could have possibly fired this arrow in this blanket of agricultural fields. Turn the note over, and you see attached to it is a sketched out map of what looks like the town, with a circle in the centre marked Corn Market, and it says after sunset tonight. What's that?
A meeting spot.
From who?
Sort of looks around. Is there like an alleyway nearby or somewhere?
We're still out.
You're
in
in
the forest.
trees.
Still in the forest.
It's
Okay.
hit the stone wall just outside the forest, by the
Right.
way.
Okay. Then just sort of sneaking back into the forest, kind of beckons to a few. Yes. Right. I may have one final thing I need to let slip, but this was not a secret kept of malicious intent. I genuinely forget from time to time.
Okay.
You remember in Sanskrit we heard word of a group called the Gorgon?
Yes.
Some time ago, one of their scouts or something recruited me. But
How long ago are we talking? Are we talking on the road with us?
no. Back in Meritale, I can't even remember. It was a few years ago, and they gave me a seal and a code name, and I just never did anything with it because I thought I wasn't really what they were looking for, and I didn't understand.
What exactly are they, or who are they?
Because the only thing we heard of them was from the guard when we were questioned about a murder.
They deal in information, as far as I can tell. I think potentially the reason they went after me was just because I'm good at getting information out of people, and perhaps they wanted to listen to anything and know where to put their agents or whatever. I wish I knew more, but the only time I've tried to contact them is before Shadeborn. I thought, if I have this resource, I might try and use it and see if there's allies within the city, but everything I got back was so cryptic. I didn't really know if it was worth pursuing.
But they feel like it's worth pursuing you, clearly.
Apparently. I wouldn't be surprised considering all of the adventures we've been up to since then. This I am genuinely sorry I didn't mention before. Like I said, it slips my mind.
Do you think we can trust these people?
From what I can tell, they were attempting to be of assistance in Shadeborn. I suppose you can't put too much on paper if there's a threat of someone intercepting it.
True. I just feel like information brokering can go
both ways. I think it's maybe worth meeting with whoever this is.
I'm inclined to agree.
But to be prepared if it is bad.
If anything, I want to know how they've been following us.
Yes.
I'm
All of
literally
the
thinking
reasons.
how many people have been following us.
And why are we so easy to follow?
Yes.
I mean, look at us. We stand out like sore thumbs.
But we have teleported and been at sea.
Mm.
Makes you wonder where they have agents. How many they have.
Probably everywhere.
Couriers. That's what they always said to look for.
Okay.
Always a friend with couriers.
Well, we should definitely meet with them, and I think perhaps we should tell Astra.
I can send him a message. To say that he can take his time coming back. This isn't something
We'll
I'd
do
follow.
everything in town first.
Pull out my book and send a message to Astra. Astra, we're running errands in town. Take your time. There is an important meeting later tonight. Please come meet us beforehand. We wouldn't want you to miss out.
Okay. I'll see you in a bit. Let me know if you need me before that.
See you soon. Enjoy your stay.
Great. Let's head back to the Smith's Guild, I suppose.
Give back that battle axe.
And the three of us begin our walk back down the western approach towards the sun. Astra.
Hi.
You've just received Cassian sending message about meeting later. What are you doing? Believe where we last left you, you were sat by the tree, taking a moment.
Yeah. Still like holding on to my Melora pendant that got given to me.
As you sit there, Finn comes running up to you. From where he was playing with his friends. Comes running up to you and does that sort of kid thing where he just drops down into a sit next to you.
The ground is so close to them.
Hi,
Hello.
what's that?
Oh, it's a necklace I got given.
Can I see it?
Yes, of course you can. Like, pull this chain out a little bit more so we can
Sort
have a
of
look.
cradles it, it's like, this is fancy.
It is, isn't it?
We've got loads of things like this, but they're not this fancy. Where'd you get it?
A very special man gave it to me.
Do you want to come skip stones?
Sure, why not?
Jumped back up again completely weightlessly, as kids tend to.
Get to my feet and toddle on with him.
It's like, Mama, we're gonna skip stones, and then like grabs your arm and starts pulling you through the forest. He leads you, sort of twisting and weaving through the trees, completely natural to him, ducking under branches, hopping over other ones, until you can hear a quiet babbling brook. And he leads you over to it. And you see, it's thin at first, but as you walk alongside it, and he sort of picks up a stick and does that thing where he sort of whacks trees as he goes past. He walks along and he's like, so where do you come from?
From the north.
Where in the north? I've never left Ferguson.
From a forest. Just like this one.
Bet it's nice. Not as nice as my forest though. And you see he hops onto a stone, a slippery stone in the middle of the brook, and then over to the other side.
Seems like you know your forest like the back of your hand.
Been coming here since I was tiny.
Well, you are tiny.
I'm not that tiny, I'm 10.
Crossover with him. So what's your dad like?
He was really cool. He was really good at painting and wood carving, and he was going to teach me, but I only learned a little bit.
Oh, you can keep practicing till he comes back.
He was so tall.
Really?
I hope I'm going to be tall, but Mum's really short, so...
Don't worry, so's mine.
Well, you're pretty tall. Not as tall as Dad, though.
Oh, tall! Scared.
And he keeps walking down the edge of the brook until it starts to widen a bit into like a more significant sort of pond of water. And he drops down onto the floor again with his feet like hanging over the edge, so the lip into the water. You realise now that he's not wearing any shoes. He definitely was when you met him at the house, but at some point between arriving in the woods and running off to play with his friends and coming back, he's discarded his shoes. He sort of wriggles his toes in the water and picks up a big stone and then skips it like 20 leaps.
Power move. Yeah. Well, that's very impressive.
Are you any good at it?
I'm alright. Let's see if I can get as far as you. Skip a stone alongside him and take
Roll
a
me a
seat.
d20.
Oh god. 14.
14. Pretty impressive. Makes 14 bounces and he looks fairly impressed and still better. So, do you know Grandpa?
I do.
What's he like?
Very quiet man. He is very stern.
Sort of pulls a face that makes it look like that doesn't quite sit right with his understanding.
He means well though. He's still a good person. He just wants best for everyone around him.
And you said you've got siblings?
2 of them. With Amel and Lynette. Lynette's 6 years older than me.
Weird.
And Amel's 21 now.
Must be nice
It is.
having a big family.
It's not that big. It's just me and my siblings and my mum and dad. And my granddad. And then...
That seems pretty big to me.
Oh, I suppose, but... There's lots of us that live all together, but that's my family. It's kind of similar to what Katelyn set up back there with the tree.
Yeah, I like them. But they're probably going to have to move soon.
Because of the farmer? No. I'll look into it for you. I'll make sure that you don't have to move. That tree's very special.
Even if they do, I decide I'm going to plant my own tree one day. Keep spreading the love, Mum says. I don't know. I like Melora. Don't like Arathis.
I never knew about any of them until recently.
Really?
But I like Melora too.
Well, Dad said that Grandpa was the same. Didn't know anything about Melora at first. And then Cedric told him everything.
I just looks confused for a second and then it's like, okay. Who is this man?
As kids tend to. Looks sad for a moment and then the topic just completely swerves. And he's like, are you staying tonight?
I hope so.
We have to get something to put in the pot then.
Yes. Well, why didn't you go foraging then? You can show me the best places.
Sort of looks around you and he's like, we're at the best place. And then he's just going to jump himself into the pond. And he only comes up to like his waist. And you see he's just like wading out really slowly into the water. And then reaches down, grabs into the water, comes up empty-handed. And then still again. It's like, shh. As if you talking would change the situation whatsoever. Reaches down and grabs a fish. Just and he lifts it out, it's wriggling, he brings it over and he's like, right, thank you, Melora, very much for the fish. Whack!
Good job. Do you know how to fill it?
I haven't got a clue.
I can show you.
I'd like that.
I need to get something as well then. I don't eat meat.
Oh, that's boring. Comes out of the water.
I was never able to do what you did.
Why?
Don't like it.
But animals do it to each other all the time.
I know.
Suit yourself. And he holds up the wriggly fish in your face.
The dead animal doesn't bother Astra. Astra's just like, okay.
And he's just gonna sort of like tuck it into his belt, into like his little dungarees, and then just keep going and follow you as you go foraging.
Fish pocket.
Go have a little forage. Just
Have a forage around and start heading back towards the main oak tree after a little while. Dawnbringers. You head back down the road.
Yup.
And as you do, you hear some shouting up ahead, just like on the outskirts of the town.
Every day.
Relentless.
If you're gonna go anywhere, something's gonna happen.
So many things have happened.
And you come across two young men, look like maybe in their, one of them in his early 20s and the other one maybe 30 at most. The one in his early 20s is wearing very noble attire. The other one is rather clumsily holding a rapier that is clearly too expensive for the kind of clothing he's wearing. You hear the younger one in the noble clothing just like, it's absolutely my right to call a duel, so if you're not going to pay attention to where you're going, then we're going to have to see this through. So I say on guard. And you see that the other guy is just like clearly out of his depth. He's holding this thing like he's never held a weapon in his life, and looking up at the first one just like, look, I don't think I can do this. I understand that I wronged you, but I'm definitely gonna die if we do this. And the old man's like, hand behind his back, like, well, that's on you.
Tory.
You should look where you're going. You can see off to the side is a very fancy looking black stallion, and off to the other side is a young girl who looks like maybe it's the younger sister of the peasant man, who's just sort of like trembling and hiding back against the fence alongside the road.
Walking towards this nonsense.
God, here we go.
Just. Excuse me, fine sir. Really, if your time is not worth being bumped into by someone like this, is your time really worth getting this poor man's blood all over you? Would that not ruin your lovely outfit?
He turns towards you and is like, and who do you think you are?
Just a concerned passerby, worried that things will be ruined and lost in undue conflict.
I am exercising my right
You're
to
right.
call a duel.
Why is it a right you have? That doesn't make any sense.
Vanden's like just quietly behind you, just like, no, it literally is a right.
Turns to Vanden. What?
We can talk about that later. I think we can de-escalate this if you just explain what's going on. And the man's like, this peasant Didn't look where he was going. Spooked my horse, and now I've lost some of my goods.
And what, you want to kill him for that?
I didn't say I was going to kill him. If he dies, that's his fault. The peasant's just like, it's okay. I can do this. The old man turns to the group of us and is like, here, I will give you 2 gold pieces each if you just leave this alone. And just carry on your merry way.
That's fucking Tory.
No. No.
That's not how this is going to go.
We're not just going to stand idly by and let you murder someone in the street.
It's not murder, it's a duel.
What goods were lost?
Why does it matter to you? Who are you anyway?
Does it matter?
I am Sir Wilfred Wolfe.
I've never heard of you.
Yeah.
Well, that's on you. Fine, how about this? If you're so concerned for this man's life, then how about one of you steps up?
You can't be serious.
This is a right of mine, and I insist on a duel. You can see that he's starting to look slightly embarrassed by the fact that he's still arguing this, and clearly doesn't want to back down now that he's made such a fuss.
Just tilts head at Vanden. Shall I or shall you?
I think it'll be funny if I do it.
I think so too.
I'm like, okay. And he'll just hold a hand out for the rapier. The peasant man just like looks the 3 of you over, and to be fair, at first glance, you don't look like the most talented of swordsmen.
Vanden is no longer wearing his fancy armor.
No. He's like, if you're sure. I was like, yeah, no problem at all. Fine, I take you up on your duel. And I was like, good. Looks a little bit nervous now.
Last chance to back down. Wouldn't want you to look like an idiot.
I could never look like an idiot.
Oh.
It's a shame. It's sorry happening.
Just like
Savage.
Hell yeah, bestie.
If you're going to mock me, you won't be best pleased when my father hears about this.
Oh, won't I?
Vanden's like, are we going to do this or what? And the guy is just like, fine. He takes 10 paces back, turns around. And as he turns around, Vanden's just like, to the peasant, just like, go on. Get moving.
Go home, lad, go home.
He just goes over to his little sister, is like, come on, Mary. And the 2 of them just sort of sneak past the situation back towards the town quite quickly.
On the count of 3.
Yes, count us in.
1, 2, 3.
We'll roll against myself.
Hell yeah.
Okay. The man comes forward first, and then it just block, and then brings the sword down on his chest. Just the tip pointing against his chest. And he's like, shall we keep going, or? Of course! You have not felled me. Are you trying to claim that I am not a strong enough opponent? Well, kind of. The man sort of uses that moment to not even wait for combat to resume, tries to swipe at Vanden's side. He just steps back out of the way and just block, disarms him.
Good.
Like, I think we can comfortably say that we're done here. So, Mr. Wilfred Wolfe, do you want to get running?
Tail between your legs.
If you don't start going fairly quickly, then maybe we'll take your horse as a prize.
Got to give him some credit, Vanden. His gout-ridden knees won't let him go that fast.
You see that the man's just like, this isn't over.
I think it is.
And he's just going to turn and retreat without saying anything else back to his horse. and you see that he kind of like puts his hands up on the saddle, and this is a pretty tall horse, and kind of
Wiggles.
tries to push himself up, and then goes around the other side and sort of gets a boost from the fence as he climbs up onto the horse. He looks down at the group of us, and it's like, this isn't the last you've heard of Wilfred Wolf.
I'm gonna just disguise self as like a cartoonish version of him, and just, this isn't the last you've heard of Wilfred Wolf.
See that he's like, oh, demons! He slaps his face really hard.
Back to myself.
I don't know about you, but this guy has like, he looks like Lord Farquaad in my head.
I would like to look around for his belongings that apparently got lost.
Yeah, as he slaps the flank of the horse, and it just sort of lets out a loud whinny and bolts down the road with him hanging onto it.
Good.
You can look around, make an investigation check.
19!
19. Okay. It's not too far to look. It looks as if he could have just picked them back up again and
Lazy.
put them on his saddle and been on his way. You find a saddlebag.
Okay.
Inside the saddlebag, you find 67 gold pieces.
Lovely.
You find a couple of nice gold rings. They're not studded with gems or anything, and you find a couple of maps.
Okay.
You unroll the maps, and they look like, they're not professionally drawn maps. They look more like treasure maps.
Ooh, okay. Do they
Yeah.
have any like indication as to where they are, or like?
They have what
Landmarks?
looks like an encrypted code as to where they are,
Ooh.
and there's 3 of them. It looks like it would probably take a significant amount of time to sit down and try and work out what they mean, but you have 3 encrypted treasure maps.
I'll hand them to Vanden. Present for you.
Map man.
Interesting. We can take a look at those later, I guess.
This'll be fun to unravel.
See, not everything has to end in disaster.
No, of course not. Sometimes you just give a pathetic little man a fright.
It really was something pathetic, wasn't it?
Absolutely abhorrent.
You had some choice words. I like that, Sariel.
I come
Very
back from time
much.
to time.
Right, should we get to...
The Smith's.
yes.
We should ask about your armor as well, if they can fix it up.
Yes. Okay. And you can return down the road to the corn market. You note now that this is definitely the spot intended on the back of the Gorgon's note.
Yeah.
And that the circle in the middle is around the statue.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go inside and see if we can find the poor cowering man from earlier to give him back his axe.
You do head inside, and you see the same older human man at the front. It must be a desk, you gather now, that he was sort of bitching at earlier in the day. And he's like, oh, it's you. You're back.
Yes. We will want to talk to you or someone else, but we've got that axe back for that fellow.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you for all your help earlier with whatever was going on there.
No problem.
Please go through and see Fabio. He's back in the workshop tidying up.
Is he okay?
He's okay. A bit shaken up.
I'm sure.
Seeing your now missing friend engulfed in flames seems to be the thing that's really driven him a little bit off the rails.
He's fine. He's just in the woods.
I will take your word for it. And he will let you back through across the courtyard.
Yeah.
You make your way back to the gallery, where you see the table has been removed and sort of replaced with a big sheet on the floor where all the pieces of dented armour have been laid out.
Something happened here.
And Fabio is sat on quite a comfortable chair that looks like it's been brought in for him, with one of the chest pieces of armour, and he's just polishing it now, trying to sort of get the dents out of it.
The burn marks.
Good afternoon, sir.
Oh, it's you.
We've brought back your axe that was taken.
We dealt with the little man.
Good. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what it was doing here or what it was. It just came in here and attacked me with a little sickle-like thing and stole the axe and ran off.
Tricky people.
Bloodthirsty fae.
Faye?
These things happen.
You think it's going to come back or more?
No.
Okay.
No, they won't be coming back.
Did you find the axe?
Reach into whoever's got the bag of holding and shing!
Oh, perfect. I have someone who's supposed to be picking it up tomorrow, and I was absolutely dreading having to say, no, we need another 3 months to make another one.
3 months.
It's very finely made.
Thank you.
Noticed there were some arcane runes on it. Do they do anything in particular?
It's especially enchanted to help people in the slaying of giants.
Okay, that's very interesting.
People having giant problems in some areas then.
I suppose so. It's headed up to Marlborough, I believe.
Huh.
Oh,
Chimera Pass.
Hearing a lot about Marlborough recently.
and Chimera Pass.
Strange.
I didn't know that they were particularly prone to have giants in that area.
I don't really know a thing about Marlborough, I just get the orders in. I'm Fabio Writer.
Cassian.
I don't know what I can do to thank you.
Well, first off, pulls out Vanden's armor. I don't suppose you could fix this. The axe kind of got embedded in it.
Oh. He sort of takes it and says, you don't mind, this is Arachide. But it's like, yeah, it's a special custom order, I'm afraid. Can't just replace it. Sort of looks at the odd shape of it questioningly, but doesn't ask anything. Where it sort of is built to go around where his wings come out. I probably could. It might take a couple of days.
We should be here for a couple of days, so that's fine.
If I could absolutely do that for you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Don't suppose you have anything that you could lend us in the meantime? Just so you have something to wear, Vanden.
We're going after the fortress invaded by the river runners.
Oh, I can. I suppose in this case I can probably loan something. In terms of anything else, we could loan some equipment from the guild, I suppose, for the fortress. Maybe for a small, refundable deposit, just in case.
What kind of thing do you have that might be useful?
Vanden, you're the expert. What would we need?
Well, I don't know, something to the effect of grappling hooks or battering rams, heavy portable artillery.
Would just 4 of us be able to operate that kind of thing?
I can probably operate it on my own.
Okay.
Show off.
I'm not showing off.
I'd like to see it then.
Fabio's like, yes, please just wait here a moment, and he sort of hurries out to the back corridor and leaves you for a few minutes, and then comes back in with a sort of a large book and starts flicking through it, like licks his thumb, starts flicking through the book, and then he essentially flips through to some pages of like more like heavier weaponsmith items that they've created, and says the guild could possibly lend you, say, a portable ballista, not unlike the one that you had to fight earlier.
Got Astra.
As he said that, he sort of looks between you and Astra not being here and doesn't say anything. Like,
They're fine, by the way.
that's good to know.
Oh my god, the fucking turn.
We can definitely lend out some grappling hooks.
Perfect.
Is it just the 4 of you intending on?
Yes.
Good luck with that. But I did see how very capable you are. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yeah, he can essentially lend out a portable, like, heavy crossbow, a handheld battering ram, the kind that like 4 people would hold on to and like smash through a large reinforced set of doors. 2 grappling hooks with ropes, and an armor to replace Vanden's to the same effect, like a chest piece. But if there's anything else that you think you need,
Don't think so.
Don't think so.
It's much appreciated. The only other thing I was curious to ask people of the guild about is, we've heard there's a mineral specific to this area.
the Therium.
What is it?
It's a sort of a copper-coloured metal. It's got a strange iridescent look to it. It's got quite an arcane strength to it.
What can it do?
Do you have any we could see?
I can get you a piece. And he will sort of head back out into one of the other rooms and come back through with sort of a flattened out hammered strip of this stuff, about the size of a credit card. And it does look like copper with sort of green and yellow weaving through it.
Do we get a vibe of it?
No, it's not actual copper, it wouldn't work.
What were you thinking?
Twilight quartz from the Underdark. It needs
No,
copper.
It certainly is not actual copper. But brings it over to you, and you can make an Arcana check if you want.
I'll assist.
No. Oh, that's a crit. God damn it! The fact that we're like in the tray is the only rolls that count. I rolled a crit outside of the tray, and then I've rolled a 1 and a 2. Kill me. 8.
I think your tray is cursed. I think that's what's happening here.
And sage the tray.
There is kind of like... You can tell that there's nothing sort of innately arcane to it. It's not magical on its own. It doesn't harm like the Twilight Quartz did. But it's definitely got properties to it that you can imagine would make a useful component. It's like, it can be worked into weaponry or armor. Kind of not unlike the seaweed that you found in Sanskrit.
Oh! Okay. I still have that.
And I understand that it's currently being experimented on by some of the clerics of the Arathis Temple to see what other arcane properties they can sort of draw out of it.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting, thank you.
Do you think it should be traded outside of Ferris?
I don't see why not.
It is a resource like any other.
That can be used to improve weaponry and armor. I don't see why we should keep it to ourselves any more than Arrakis keeps Arrakite.
Good to know.
Well, thank you very much for your help.
And for the equipment.
Of course. And he will ask you to put down a deposit of 25 gold just for any damages.
Slap.
Okay.
Slap down that gold.
As I said, I am paying for the practical things while we're here.
Okay. Astra. You head back to the oak tree with Finn with your sort of bushel of foraged goods and a fish.
One fish.
Finn was very pleased with himself to have found a fish. And you see Cedric milling around, Mia, Francois, the gruff looking man with no sleeves on his shirt. Is there anything in particular you'd like to while you're here? Is there anyone you'd like to talk to? Yes? Big bushy hair. You want to talk to Cedric? Okay.
Great big bushy beard.
Cedric is over by like a large, it looks like he's putting together like a large cooking fire rather than a small campfire. And he's doing that very traditional method of lighting fire where he's just like twisting a stick onto another stick, trying to get the embers to catch.
Need a hand with that?
I wouldn't mind if you want to help.
It's a prestidigitation. I can make fire. I believe so.
You can make
Yes.
sparks, I believe.
No, it can make a small campfire, which can
Oh,
make...
nice.
Yeah. So Astra will just blink towards it and cast prestidigitation.
Well, isn't that remarkable? Thank you very much. And you start putting sort of more logs on it now.
I'll put the mushrooms down somewhere. Tease mushrooms.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
It looked like you were in shock. I understand.
How much do you understand? You knew Kenneth?
Well, I mean, I knew him pretty well. We were friends for a number of years.
Years?
Oh, he stayed with us here. He was just over 25 when he arrived, and just over 30 when he left.
Ooh. ever talked about when he left on his pilgrimage?
I didn't know much about where he came from, just that he always said he was gonna go one day. That as much as he loved it here, he had somewhere better to go back to, and as much as it saddened him to leave everybody, there were things he had to do. You know, we all adored him, and that's why we kept up this place like his legacy.
This feels like a slice of home. He sets it up very similarly.
Well, it's nice to know. How's he doing?
He's good.
Good.
He's, well, as healthy as a bloody oak tree. What was he like? I get the feeling that my accounts of him don't align with what people think of him.
He was a creative, loyal, caring person. He touched the hearts of all of us. You know, a good friend, and he changed our lives with this place. You know, he arrived in the town. I didn't meet him straight away, but I heard this sort of afterwards from Alea. Caught the attention of Alea's mother, who was a local artist who'd never seen a tiefling before. I mean, look at this place. She desperately wanted to paint his portrait, and so he sat down for a painting, and he met Alea, and he found out that they were in some debt, not getting by that easily. So, in return for free board at their house, Katelyn worked hard locally to help them clear up some of the debt, make ends meet. And they fell in love. They used to come out to this wood to paint. And we met out here by chance. I was a traveler too, passing through the land, and ran into them in this wood. And started getting along, and then more travelers, we sort of brought him in here. And he fell so in love with the concept of Melora that he just wanted to spread it to everybody that he met. Started inviting people to the wood if they showed some sort of affinity for nature, and began preaching the idea of sharing burdens and reward with one another, living like this. I think for a lot of us that saved us, or gave us some sort of purpose to our lives.
I'm glad.
I remember helping him build the cottage as well. He was so determined to make a lasting home for the people he was going to leave behind. You know, everybody pitched in. Well, Mira over there, she helped too. If you look around in that place and you find any blankets or anything like that, she helped. She had made all of them. Then one day he was just gone. No goodbyes to anyone.
It's easier that way.
It's just good to know he's doing alright. Pleased to hear it. And Alea, she never remarried. She just dedicated herself to raising Oakley and spreading the love. I hope this is helpful information to you, anyway.
It is. I'm not saying it's unhelpful at all. It's just very different account of the man that I know. And it's what he's never talked about when he left. Doesn't talk about much at all, really.
That's sad to hear. Yeah, he was a very, very talented artist, especially with the wood carving. There's a gallery in town. It's called the Heron Gallery. You can probably find a piece or two in there. Probably just labeled at this point from Pilgrim's Rest, but
I didn't know that. about him.
Well, maybe you can ask him about it next time you see him.
Sure. Right, where can I help?
Right. You can just sort of start pointing you off around the camp to things that need to be done.
Huh. Much to think about.
Cassie and Sariel and Vanden. You finish up at the Smiths.
We need to go pick up the seeming scroll and the bombs from
Yes.
Boulders. So we'll just go and explain to him,
Yeah.
like, we need those actually now.
And
Scoop.
he's more than happy to let you take them.
Yeah.
Tells you good luck.
So what? There was a blight bomb, an elemental bane bomb.
And a bestow
And a
curse.
bestow curse.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes, we'll divvy those up at some point later.
And at some point you're going to have to start working on the count fit.
Yes. Everyone knows I don't need that much sleep. I can work through the night on the outfit.
Oh, I'm just amused.
Amused?
Yes, amused.
I break the fourth wall and take psychic damage.
Take off your hit points. Well, it's just nice to see you laughing at something. I will make the most divine bovine outfit.
Well, we've still got a few hours to kill until that meeting tonight.
Did we want to go talk to the priests at the Temple of Arathis, or would that be better to have Astra here for? I feel like he would have something to say.
I feel like he'd have something to say, and probably some good points to make, and also wouldn't want to deprive him of that experience. Especially if he's only going to have so many before he goes home.
How do we want to broach that subject?
I mean, it's not like we have some sort of pact where none of us are allowed to leave, but
No, but
it just hurts a bit.
yes.
I don't know. I'll probably end up just bringing it out bluntly like I always do.
You do need to learn how to put things a little bit more tactfully.
It gets the job done.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe tonight or when after all of this is done, I don't know.
I think maybe tonight. We just bring it up. Gently.
Then don't let me be the one to bring it up.
Maybe he'll be more inclined to talk about that sort of thing now that he's had this news.
And in a place that looks like home.
Well, he did open up and talk to us more today than I think he has done at any point.
Ever.
So. Just sort of a shock to realise how little I know about him.
Everyone's entitled to secrets.
Oh, completely. It's just a surprise because I just felt like I knew Astra really well.
He does a very good job of coming across as an open book when there's a lot of pages stuck together in there.
Making you feel like you know everything already.
Yes.
It's not like I'm angry or anything,
It hurts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have very many people, you just don't want to say goodbye to any of them.
No. Not when we've already lost people.
Especially when we can't follow him.
Okay, but that can be tonight. What? So we're going to go with the with Astra to the temple. Probably not today.
Maybe after this fortress business. If we're intending on riding this cart to the fortress, we need to tell Sylvette. Otherwise, my throat might burn out.
That's very true.
I would rather that not happen.
So our plan is to stake out and wait for the cart and then apprehend it.
On its way out of the farm. Better to ask the farmer for forgiveness as opposed to permission.
It's true. Anyway, it wouldn't have to have anything to do with him in that case.
Exactly.
Which could be tonight. Could be in the middle of the night.
Could be tomorrow.
Okay. Well,
So-
do we want to apprehend it and then go and tell Sylvette? I mean, because if our plan doesn't work out, then...
Yes. Yes, let's not get too excited. And then once we have it, we can take it somewhere once she knows, then we can use the scroll and go into skies.
Good. That's a good plan.
So essentially, we can go over this later, but the plan is a quiet infiltration, but we are prepared if we need to start climbing or...
And then once the group are back together, we can talk about what we're going to do once we're inside. Hopefully Bramble will have some information about us, about how many people there are.
Hopefully.
As we're walking through the town, Sariel's keeping an eye out for the beggar woman.
Okay. Make a perception check.
If we happen to catch her anyway.
Yeah, what was her deal?
18.
18. You walking through the town, the three of you just sort of casually ambling now without anything to do for a while.
What?
And you're sure you catch a glimpse of her down the alleyway at one point. But if you take a second look, you can't see her. You okay?
Just keeping an eye out for that, for the beggar woman we saw.
How come?
She holds up the saddlebag that they took from the noble. I feel like she deserves this a lot more than he did.
True.
That's very true.
I guess it depends how open she is to taking it. She didn't seem too keen on Astra's offer.
No. But I'd like to offer it anyway.
It's fine, we saw loads of beggars in Falstaff, but no other ones here.
No.
I suppose we might as well enjoy some of the town while we're killing time.
Actually, I wanted to go and pick up some new parchment and ink and such, so if we can just wander around until we find a place.
Oh, I should probably see about getting some more gems for Hannah.
Great. Okay, I'll say we can spend the afternoon ambling.
Doing supply runs.
Yeah.
Just getting nice stuff and being like, oh, the weather's nice. Oh, look at these flowers.
At some point, Vanden will mention, like, oh, they said if we were going to eat with them, we should bring something.
Yeah.
We can pick up some, like, delicatessen meats or something.
Bring our own, bring some fondue with us.
Oh my god.
Raclette.
And then you find a crepe stand where they're making fresh crepes, like, right there on the street. And like putting melted chocolate on them and strawberries.
Astra would love these.
We'll have to bring them back. How many gems are you looking to buy?
Like I've never thought about like how much it must cost to do this, but I guess maybe like 50 gold's worth of gems.
I can just say you've got 50 gold's worth of components for your Henna mix.
That it can just be ground up to last for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Yeah. So you only have to do this every so often.
Exactly. Like, it's easy to make lots of it with little gems.
Yeah, and I say including the price of that, you can probably get a couple more storage pots and the like to keep the mixture in.
Yeah. And like low key, if we go past any gift shops, Cassie's gonna see if they've got any of those like ribbons that were on the bridge and just like buy a few.
You find you can buy them pretty much everywhere.
Good. It's just gonna buy a few.
Okay, so yeah, so let's say 50 gold and 5 silver for everything you want to buy today.
Tight.
And then Vanden will buy some parchment for probably 2 gold for reams of it and new ink and stuff. And then you can go back to the Golden Plume and empty your stuff out of the room. We never get to stay in a nice
lie on the bed for just like 5 minutes.
Yeah, have an afternoon nap. And then make contact with Astra sort of a couple of hours before sundown and say the plan.
So
meet at
Astra
sundown.
needs to come here first.
Well, he needs to come into town too.
Yeah, but that's before we go back. Okay, yeah, just get out the book and send Astra a message again. Just be on your way now, please.
Already am. See you soon.
Okay. Astra, you finish up your afternoon talking as much as you want to the people at Melora's Circle, learning countless stories about your father.
Shook.
How happy and full of joy he was.
That makes 2 of them.
2 of them.
More in common with his dad than he ever knew.
You can make your way back into the Golden Plume and back up to the rooms to find these 3 lounging around.
We need to try some of these crepes.
Yes. Have you ever had a crepe?
No, it sounds like you're saying crate a bit odd.
We thought you would like strawberries and wild fruits and
do.
such.
Presents you a folded up triangular crepe with chocolate and strawberries in it.
You lose Astra, like mentally and spiritually for a few minutes as he devours this crepe.
So I suppose we should fill you in about why you're coming here tonight.
Why we've called you here.
Recounts the information about, I'm part of a secret group of information brokers, but sometimes I forget.
Because they don't contact
They don't contact me and I don't contact them. And it was all a bit casual.
But now it's not. Now it's
Now
very
it's not.
serious.
Help.
And now we're going to meet. Supposedly.
Yes, I wonder if
With
it's...
the Gorgon.
But weren't these the people that killed somebody?
I don't think that is what happened. I just don't think we ever got the full truth in
Right.
Sanskrit.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they're supposed to be doing something good, but I don't know.
Okay. As long as I suppose we stay on our guard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're secret keepers, so I suppose don't spill your secrets. Maybe
Good idea.
wear your mask.
Yes. Although if they know where to find you, I have a
Then
sneaky
they probably
suspicion.
already know you're here. Great.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with the idea of someone following and watching us, though.
And yet they have been.
Oof.
Well, not even necessarily following, but multiple people who report back to them have spotted us. Could be either.
Not made to be subtle.
Vanden can't help himself. He's just like,
Oh no.
speaking of secrets,
Oh no.
And then,
I'm sorry, I feel like I can't concentrate on anything while I'm thinking about this.
okay, just go for it.
When were you going to tell us that you're going to leave us permanently?
I suppose when it came up.
Like when you were about to go?
I don't know how long I've got outside in the world. Especially if this thing with Laura is what my purpose is. And I made promises to keep my people safe and to not tell anybody about them. But I've already broken that.
Keep your people safe from what?
And why are they so convinced that this is what keeps them safe?
If there's some kind of threat, we can help them.
I told you my granddad lost a lot of people.
He did. A lot of people have lost a lot of people.
And the answer is to just hide.
Yes. Keeps us safe. It has done. For a long time.
So, what? This just gets spread from generation to generation and no one questions it?
Because it makes sense. It keeps us safe. It keeps everyone that lives there protected. Because we all look out for each other and we'll... You saw the way that it's all set up back at the tree my dad planted. That's the way it is at home.
But then that begs the question of if it is also safe there.
But it isn't, because the farmer wants everyone to move, and he's planning on trying to move them all out, and it's not safe.
We keep each other protected.
Yes.
You were the one who wanted us to stick together in the first place.
And I know we've never addressed it, but what was your greatest desire back in Velatra? All four of us growing old with each other.
I think what we're seeing here is a discrepancy between what Astra wants and what Astra has to do.
I guess I'm not angry, I'm just hurt.
I'm sorry.
There's no blame on either side here.
I've got... a lot of responsibility. I've got a lot of promises that I need to fulfill.
The letter that Astra got from the family,
Mhm.
did he read that out loud or did he read it to himself?
Out loud.
That letter that Mother gave you
Mm-hmm.
said something about your father's responsibility to the people there and...
Mm-hmm.
Are you next after him? If your grandfather's the one who lost people, your father has a responsibility. You're supposed to take over your clan.
Yes.
It's not like any of us are going to stop you or hold it against you. Sariel's right. If it's something that you believe you have to do, then you have to do it. It's just...
It's the false expectation.
It's just the fact that you all matter so much to me. And that I don't want to say goodbye to one of you forever. You're all I have now. And it's a crazy thing, but the three of you are like... The three of you are more like family than any of my family have ever been. So... I just... When we saw in Valafra what you wanted, I was so content thinking that was achievable that we really would see that.
What you want and what can come to pass or don't always blend. It's a selfish desire, but it doesn't mean that it's...
But if you're taking over and you make the rules, then you could change them. Make it so that people could, I don't know, visit others. Or that people can go through, if you're so worried about protecting, some sort of trial to get in, just to see people for a bit. I think about that poor Oakley fellow, just out in the world.
I am thinking about him. Solstice wants what's best for everybody.
Solstice?
And I trust Solstice, I believe in him.
It's fine, I don't want to fight with you. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought this up now.
It's okay.
We're keeping this agent waiting.
You're right.
Chin's up.
And now we're all together and that's what's important. When whatever comes to pass, we'll deal with it then.
That's why you gotta make the most of the moment. Right, well, I'm gonna go get some air. I'll meet you outside.
Ben doesn't say anything else, he just grabs his mask and puts it on.
And he gives him a reassuring nudge.
Flinches, like he hasn't done in quite a long time.
Sarah will give Astra a couple minutes and follow him outside. And not say anything particular, but just come and stand next to him. I'm sorry.
Oh, for it's nothing to be sorry about.
It's just a lot to have to process in one day.
I'm an uncle.
You've got a nephew. He looks a bit like you. He's got that same smile that you have.
He looks a spitting image of Hamill when he was that age. Got personality like the nest, though.
It's hard having that sort of expectation on you.
I've got promises to keep.
I understand.
I can't let people down. I can't keep letting people down.
What do you mean keep?
I'm already away for too long. And I don't know how much longer I'm going to be.
You need to do these things at your own pace.
We'll see. Right, this person, we're going to meet them.
Mm-hmm. The others will be down, I'm sure.
Smile on face.
Squeeze hand.
A few moments later, they emerge out into the street.
Right, so where are we going?
This way. Cassie will lead towards the spot marked.
You make your way back towards Corn Market after the sun has set. The town is quieter now, no one really wandering around, most of the colourful windows darkened, although you still hear the distant sounds of music playing over the short buildings, signs of revelry elsewhere in these charming streets.
Gelton!
I know we out there.
I know he out there.
The doors to the Smiths Guild are closed at last, having been open all day, and the lights are down now in the town hall, although a few simple oil-burning streetlights throw a warm glow over this space. Moths fluttering around the glass quietly. In the centre of the square, you see again the brass statue of an elven man holding a fishing net and a shallow pan, although there doesn't seem to be anyone else around yet. You make your way over to it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep a very sharp eye out.
Oh, the sharpest of eyes.
After a few minutes, a figure emerges from the shadows. When they move, it becomes immediately evident they have been there the whole time.
Oh god.
Weirdo.
Despite how much you were looking out, they move and it's like they meld out of the shadow itself. You see a 5'11"-ish pale man. Skin almost so pale it's translucent. Thin veins visible beneath the surface. He has colourless eyes and silver white hair, and over his right eye, a black eye patch with 2 lines of string coming off each side. He wears a simple all black outfit with a high collared shirt and a loose cowl hood tucked into tight black leather trousers, and long steel toed boots that look like they have armour worked into the shins.
Oh, dang.
This whole ensemble is stark against his ghostly pallor. The back of his belt has a large knife tucked into a simple sheath. 2 scroll cases hang at his side. One of his gloved hands has a hand crossbow fitted to it.
Pew!
Hell yeah.
Pew! Message!
He walks over to you and looks the group of you over. I wasn't sure if you'd be coming alone or not. Hypnos.
Right, that's the name they gave me. Where I go, these people follow.
I'm getting that impression.
We were also invited.
Yes.
My name is Nestor. And as I'm sure your friend has informed you here, I'm from the Gorgon.
Yes. Not that we know awfully that much about the Gorgon.
We're an organization of people who ensure information on corruption spreads to the right parties to prevent tyranny, war. We have a vested interest in what happens here in Ferguson.
Why?
It's fairly simple. We want to maintain the peace. Ferguson has been doing well under current leadership, and we don't want to see that upheaved. You four have once again found yourselves in a unique position in which you have some power to maneuver this situation towards the best outcome. Quite remarkable, really.
What, in your opinion, is the best outcome?
That's still up for some debate, but you can't deny that you have influence over this situation.
Oh.
We would reward you greatly if you do discern the right way to see this situation go and ensure it happens. I suppose you probably have questions for me about it.
I'm sure you know, but we're already tied into a particular site with this.
Tied in, maybe. There's nothing that couldn't be worked around.
I mean, I don't know if you've known he's got this on his throat. It
I
keeps
had
us kind of
noticed.
tied in.
Unless something can be done about it.
It can.
Okay, then I do have a choice in this matter. Good to know.
Well, you say the right answer is up for debate, but as you'll have gathered, we're in leagues with Sylvette Marion to try and get her to win the position.
Indeed. How do you feel about that?
Don't really know her. From what I've gathered, she doesn't work with smugglers, and she just wants to gain some notoriety back. But a lot of the people here seem to be under the impression that the person that's currently ruling instead, Landenberg, is the right person to continue doing that.
Indeed. Erwin Landenberg. There's no doubt that he's well loved. Many people would say that his influence is the only thing that's kept von Keiberg as such a good leader. Very much the preferred candidate amongst the people. But there's points to that effect for all of them. Not dismissing Sylvette either. And everybody has their secrets.
It's true. It's just finding them out. Who was it? One of the people in the Smiths Guild says was untrustworthy. Was sure he was hiding something.
Jean-Luc Weiss. He was they said the vice head of the Merchants Guild?
Yes, was definitely hiding something.
Well, there are strong reasons to believe that Jean-Luc may be the bastard of von Keiberg.
Right. Feels he has some sort of right via that.
Well, that's not how it works around the Chaste, but an entitlement perhaps.
Yes. Great.
I can tell you more if you're willing to work with us on this.
What have you got to lose?
What have I got to lose?
More information is definitely going to be helpful.
I understand that you haven't been particularly invested in using your connection with us over the past few years.
Well, I haven't really had much cause to until now. And the messages you sent me in Shadebone weren't of much help.
Yes. Something I'll have to speak to head office about.
I need to speak to HR.
I am not the one who writes the notes, I just have the crossbow.
See, his face is fairly serious, and he says that with absolute seriousness as well. Looks rather disappointed and quite tired. You realise now you're looking at him up close.
What mood?
Who, out of curiosity, who exactly has been keeping tabs on us? You the entire time, or just different people in different places? How far do your roots spread?
Well, we operate everywhere in Caldera.
Got that.
Every city, every region. I haven't been personally keeping tabs on you until you arrived in Farrelstadt.
Okay.
You've been spotted. Plenty of times. You're not exactly subtle.
No.
I told you.
In fact, and he gestures to Cassian and Vanden, you two are exceptionally lucky you haven't been assassinated yet.
Sorry, what?
Sought out, unsubtle, constantly gathering enemies. I was amazed you survived your encounter at the ball in Shadeborn at all, considering there were at least 3 people there who wanted one of you dead.
What?
Well, yes, one of them tried to kill him.
Oh, not including Baron Greywood.
And not including the Cranwells?
No.
This one.
I'm almost flattered.
You shouldn't be.
No, that's really quite concerning.
He pulls out like a tiny little metal trinket out of his pocket and just starts fiddling with it. It like flips over his knuckles back and forth like a coin as he's talking. It's not like enchanting or anything. It doesn't draw your attention that much. It looks like it's just a habit. And he sort of fiddles with it back and forth. So if you're interested in engaging, do try to be a little bit more subtle.
I'm not really sure how that's possible for our group, but...
Anyway, I suppose I'll show you a little bit more about us.
Please.
We mostly gather information on politics, the actions of entitled nobles, people in power.
You haven't heard of a... What was it? Sir...
Wilfred Wolf.
Wilfred Wolf.
Roll of his eyes. Heard of. Why?
We may have earned desire today.
What?
Oh, Vanden sorely beat up a nobleman who was about to kill a peasant for bumping into him.
I didn't sorely beat him up.
Well,
He challenged us to a duel.
And you gave him his just desserts.
I didn't
Beat
even-
his ego.
I didn't even hurt him. Sariel terrified him.
Yes. You wounded his ego.
Good.
You see that Nesta's face is just completely blank and bored as he listens to this, like, really? He does notice that he seems to have caught Sariel's attention with this discussion. Ears twitch a little bit. We're an organization over 1,000 years old. And, well, you know already, we operate through the courier system.
Yes.
Many members within the organization's ranks are messengers, household staff, security guards. People have reasons to be places.
People who can move about unseen.
Precisely. We cannot deny that we would be interested in working with the Dawnbringers, as you call yourselves.
It's not good.
So what exactly would you want from us?
In this instance, there are a few things we want to know. Our primary concern is finding someone who will maintain or improve the current political position of Ferres without starting any tensions elsewhere in the Shaste.
Well, I mean, we were already sort of on that anyway.
Exactly, that's why we thought we'd come to you. We want to ensure the future security of the Shaste trade alliance between the Lake Lords.
The only thing that Sylvette mainly wants to change is to start trading the Firium.
Yes, there's a reason I asked to meet here, by the statue.
Is it made of the stuff?
No, but he gestures down to a little plaque at the bottom. Looks kind of dirty and like no one's really tended to it in quite a long time. But you see that it reads Lord Albert Stein, founder of Ferres, with a little panel of information underneath explaining that he became the first Lake Lord of Ferres after his discovery of the unique metal ore, Firium. I don't know how much you know about the ore itself, but it can only be panned out of rivers in this region. No one knows why. There seems to be no large legal channel out of the town trading it. Considering the area worships Arathis, we find it kind of strange that they wouldn't capitalize on something like this. But they don't. Still, it ends up around the continent in small doses. Perhaps there's some evidence of this with the smugglers. Would be worth investigating if you're going there anyway.
Sure. Could it make sense if the smugglers in the area, why it keeps getting out of here anyway?
It's true. Although we don't know for sure if it's being smuggled or sold through unofficial channels as such, and we would like to know. Firium is fairly dangerous. It's potent as a spell component, can increase the power of various elemental damages, can add arcane properties to weapons, armor.
I do have one question for you and your lot.
What's that?
What were you all doing in Sanskrit? What was your involvement there?
I may be able to tell you something about it if you do this for us. We're information keepers, not spreaders.
Sure. But you want us to work with you, and the first I've heard of you was potentially involved in a murder, so...
We certainly weren't involved. I can tell you that much. We did have information pertaining to it. We're suspicion of some corruption in this area. We have a little information on who or what, but that's one of the reasons we're concerned about which candidate takes the place of Lake Lord.
Yes. Well, the way I see it, we're involved in this anyway. I'm already involved with your lot. What harm is there on joining up?
Good. I'm pleased to hear that.
Especially if we can trade in useful information.
I'm sure we can certainly be of assistance to you in the future if you assist us now.
If everyone else is on board with it.
I don't see why not.
How do we contact you?
Your friend who knows.
Couriers use the official seal.
Well, for the most part, here in Ferguson, I will be watching. In fact, could be kind of useful. Looks like it's just contemplate something. Stops flipping the little trinket for a moment. Then she's gonna reach forward and pull one of Cassian's hairs out.
Ow!
A single hair. And just
Ow!
tucks it into the pocket of his shirt.
Okay, what's that about?
So I can watch you. Anyway, I can tell you a little bit more about the different candidates and the information so
I'm
we've
sorry,
gathered.
did I consent to that?
Pretty much when you signed up with us.
Okay, cool. Must not have read the fine print.
What does that mean?
Oh, you can scry on me.
Right. So, Richard von Kyberg. He's been the Lake Lord for us for 55 years. The family have held the title for 4 generations, but he had no children of his own, supposedly. Never married, had no heir. They were fair and benevolent leaders, but say in the past 3 or 4 years, people in the town noticeably started talking about a deterioration in his leadership decisions. He's old. People put it down to age. He seems to be going a bit senile. If Jean-Luc Weiss is his son, he's not particularly personable. He's quite a serious man, good with business, but he's climbed up in the Merchants Guild, but he won't reach the top. People don't find him easy to get along with. Which is personally something I think leadership would suffer with. The wealth of his family would suggest business is good, but it's too suspicious. He has a good relationship with the Alliance already, that's a plus. But there's no proof to suggest he'd be a good politician. He's good at trade. We can take that much, but there's more to running a town than making money.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell, looking at him, that he's not his father's child as such. Maybe von Kyborg was sending money to the family or something to hush up the scandal. There's Captain Pierre Byrne of the Ranger outfit. He's an incredibly friendly guy, and there's no one in Ferguson who would say they can't get along with him.
Already been thoroughly trumped by the Riveronas, though.
Well, if you ask me, I don't think a quest to overthrow a fortress is necessarily a perfect way to choose a leader.
Probably not.
He really lacks in the business-minded area. He's a ranger. He knows how to protect the coastline. But as the captain of a military outfit, there's no denying he's got leadership skills that would transfer to politics.
Maybe he would be better being paired with one of the other candidates. They did say that was an option.
That is a possibility. I don't think there's much in the way of scandals surrounding Captain Byrne. He likes his drink. But who can say that they don't? Then there's DuPont himself. The Gorgon are of the mind that this man is too powerful to take over for us.
DuPont is not an option. It would be foolish to let Lake Lord take care of 2 towns.
Precisely. Because you know you got your head on straight. We shall skip over him entirely then. There is some question about him emerging out of nowhere with this living will in the first place. But if you understand that he shouldn't be put in charge, I don't think there's anything else to say. Finally, there's Landenberg. He's von Kyborg's advisor. He's been so for years. He worships Arathis. The town love him. He's well loved. He understands trade. His own father was a merchant, as I understand it. He's charismatic and maybe hasn't got leadership to an art yet in the past 3 weeks that he's been running the town, but...
Who would?
Precisely. The only thing we don't know about is he had some involvement with a private physician a few years ago who he paid a large sum to, more than 2,000 gold. The physician won't cough up any information as to what the money was for, so...
How many years ago?
I'd say 3 or 4.
And when did the current Lake Lord start deteriorating?
Unsurprisingly, around the same time.
Huh.
We don't know any more than that.
Oh, just assumptions, but that's worth looking into.
Definitely. And then there's Sylvette. You know, I understand you have something of a personal relationship with.
Don't know if I'd say that, but...
Well, despite her life falling apart a few years back, Sylvette has shown ruthless dedication to getting back on her feet. Most recently, she's been working with the Eisenstark Arms Guild. Working all the way across the Shaste, which is a highly dangerous job. None of her shipments have ever gone missing, despite being a clear target for the smugglers. There was some evidence quickly swept away 4 years ago that her business, Marion Trading, was working with the black market traders. Some solid proof that we haven't been able to dig up. At the time, Sylvette was on track to be given a position of power within the guild, and has been blacklisted ever since. Anyway, if there's anything else that I can do to assist you in this...
Unless you can give us any useful information on taking down Ulfren and his men.
He literally, without saying anything, as you're speaking, pops open one of the scroll cases and just holds open a piece of information. Like a sort of thick, rolled up parchment. Blueprint of the fortress.
Nice!
Pass it to the map man.
Vander's like, what? Well, that's definitely going to be helpful.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, unless you have any parting words for us, I think we're pretty good to go.
Glad to hear it. I won't be far off if you need anything.
I'll await your arrow.
All the ravens.
Probably not around here.
Good.
At that, Vanden just sort of twitches when you say all the rings, and she's like, hey.
Bad dreams, bad dreams.
Probably a seagull instead.
Divine.
With that, he's like, then I suppose I shall see you again soon.
Good night.
It's like the faintest of smiles on his face, and he like pops the trinket back in his pocket and just turns around. He disappears back towards the shadows of the shop that he was standing in front of, and you watch him carefully. Make a perception check. 4. 4.
You blink.
You're just watching and you blink and you can't see him anymore.
That was... Should we leave first?
Sure, should we head back up the road? Or back to the hotel?
Are we not staying in the woods tonight?
I mean, just to discuss. We can stay in the woods.
Okay.
We can walk up the road. You begin heading back up the Western Approach Road towards Melora's woods again. As you do, you sort of take in the information that was just dumped on you by this agent of the Gorgon.
Hey yo, Dungeons and Dragons check.
It's TNT! TNT Beyond! Yeah, TNT Beyond!
What are your DM ability scores? Let's go through them. Strength. How strong's your prep game? What do your notes look like? You whipping up some cool combat encounters? Dexterity. How's your improv game? Your players throw your plans to the wind. Are you sticking the landing? Constitution. How long of a session can you run before passing out? Can you run multiple campaigns at once? Intelligence. Rules. Do you know them? Wisdom. How's your table management? How are you at making sure the game fits what your players find fun? And charisma. How are you at flavoring? Good at NPC voices or vivid monologues? Duet me or use this sound and let me know what your scores are.
Hear the physical description of your character in your character's voice. Sound good?
Hi, my name's Sasha, and these are the characters that I play on actual play show Life of the Party. This is Sariel of Sayanin. She's the moon-worshipping druid on the run from an evil magister in the city of Riven. She's soft and sweet, except when you cross her friends, at which point she goes absolutely feral.
And this is Tiefling Wizard Pandora de Rossi. She is an education student at the Academy of Delphos in Erin. And she's been told she's like the brightest student in her class, but she's also like she'd never believe them because like she's really not very confident and she's like really anxious all the time, and it's getting really hot in here. Is it just me? It's getting really warm.
You can meet these characters and more with new episodes of Life of the Party airing on the nyxrising YouTube channel every Wednesday, 8 PM UK time.
You begin heading back up the Western Approach Road towards Melora's woods again. As you do, you sort of take in the information that was just dumped on you by this agent of the Gorgon. I don't know what I was expecting, but that's good information to hear.
Yes. He seemed capable. Head screwed on right.
If a little blunt.
If a little blunt.
Suppose he had no reason to be polite to us.
No, and now he's just watching me.
He's probably listening to this conversation. But anyway.
Creepy.
Hypnos.
Yes. But everyone gets code names.
So is that his code name?
Probably.
Still good to know.
I have a official stamp from them for letters and such.
Know how many of them there are?
If they work all over Caldera, must be hundreds, maybe thousands of them.
I'm just shocked I've never heard of anything like this before.
I suppose if they don't want you to know about them, you won't.
Wonder how many of them work in the palace.
And how much information they have. These could be good allies. I still don't know how much I trust it, but if we find that we think they are trustworthy.
It's worth playing along for a while, see how it goes. I don't think we have any reason to do anything against them.
I suppose he didn't have to give us all that information, but he did.
No, and
They only want the best outcome.
exactly.
They're not gunning for anything in particular, they just want the right person in charge.
And if they saw what we did in Shadeborn, they know that we have interest in that as well.
I found that there were 3 separate people wanting to kill the 2 of you while we were in Shadeborn.
I don't like that.
I wish I knew who they were. Maybe we can ask him again sometime. People to look out for.
So what do you think of these candidates? If he thinks he can do something about that mark on your neck, then how do we feel about Sylvette in charge?
Honestly, regardless of that, I feel like potentially her and Byrne might be a good pair.
She knows trade, he knows leadership.
Yes. And he's got the brawn, she's got the brains.
True.
And I suppose everyone likes this Landenberg figure. But just that timing.
With the physician.
An absurd amount of money and a physician who won't talk. I don't like that. It rings suspiciously of situations I've overheard back home.
I mean, if we can find out the truth about that, that would clear a few things up.
Exactly. If it's nothing to be afraid of, if it was something that he was struggling with himself, maybe him and Byrne.
Could be good.
But
And not DuPont.
and not DuPont, no. And not
Not Vice.
not Vice. Out of the question. It's really between the 3.
Why not just be done with it and have the 3 of them make a little council out of it? Or is that not the way the Shaste works?
I mean, it wouldn't be entirely like something that's happened before, but there's a town called Castramore on the north of the lake that has a group of leaders.
We'll see. We'll see if they'd be open to such a thing.
Yeah, we can't count on them wanting that.
Well, Sylvette already said that she would be fine sharing the power, she just wants a piece of it.
Well, ideally we make both Sylvette and the Gorgon happy.
Yes.
That's the way to do it.
But if we fail to make Sylvette happy, then at least the Gorgon can do something.
Although he was saying something about evidence of her working with smugglers.
I guess that's also worth looking into, but I guess the odd thing is doing trade across the lake for so long and never once getting bodied or having goods stolen.
It's convenient.
Is there some sort of percentage that's being tipped off?
Some reason why the smugglers want to attack her.
Who knows?
This is a lot.
I want to find myself suddenly caught up in again. I don't mind it though. It feels like we're actually doing something impactful.
And again, potential ally here when we're done.
Astra, are you okay?
Yes, just listening.
Okay. I'm sorry about earlier.
Don't be, it's fine.
I am still anyway though. let my emotions get the better of me.
That's allowed.
You find yourselves walking all the way up the path. Once again, coming across Pilgrim's Rest Cottage. The chimney is no longer smoking. You assume that they're probably in the woods already. And you make your way back through the small gate into the forest. Before you get too far, Astra, you feel Bramble coming back into range.
Here's the rain.
Baby.
And you feel your head start to fill with images of things that he has seen through the day. You see again this huge limestone fortress. You see on the way to the fortress what looks like a camp, maybe half a mile out, full of men with swords, sort of practicing. It looks like they're perhaps training or just honing their skills. Inside the fortress, as Bramble ducks and weaves between various windows, invisibly flies in over the top, you count around maybe 20 men, and the loud roar of something large. Wherever it is, Bramble isn't able to get to it to see it.
Okay.
At some point, he sees 2 men inside the fortress, dragging a third one, dressed in the same kind of like clothing and armor as them, by both elbows, towards a door on the ground floor. Bramble pursues this, and you can see the guy is struggling, but not saying anything. He looks like he might throw up. They drag him into the door, and it just shuts before Bramble can make it inside. He almost lands headfirst in the wood. Later on in the day, there is a clash outside of the fortress. Whoever was camping in the woods seems to be attempting to overthrow it. They're easily deflected by the smugglers themselves. A handful of men try to breach the wall, and Bramble watches hot oil poured over them.
Oh.
Soldiers falling in a hail of arrows and very, very quickly retreating again.
Okay.
And all of this
feels like the tactics. As we're walking, Astra just holds onto you as just vision turns into Bramble's visions.
So that's a Raven moment.
You okay?
Yes.
Are you done?
Sorry, Bramble is back.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Okay, that's a lot of information. Good job.
He's still a way out. He's just within range. So he's going flying up like the 200 feet or whatever it is that he can reach you from.
Tired wings.
We've been going all day. No. You can wait there for Bramble to get back to you in about 2 minutes or so, and he just sort of invisibility just drops, and this little fairy dragon just falls into your hands, completely exhausted, hangs over Astra's hands dramatically.
You're alright. Come on. Good job today.
Curls around your arm. And the group can head back inside, weaving through Melora's wood, which once again just seems to direct you. It's now dark, but there's like shining patches of moonlight here and there, leading the way through the twisting wood, until you come across the centre again with the twisted oak tree. Pushing aside some leafy branches, you see the grove once more. You see all of the lights that they'd strung up in the trees now glowing and throwing sort of almost like fireflies over the ground here. There's music playing, somebody is playing a pan flute somewhere. You can smell the cooking on this huge iron pot they have hanging over the fire you helped with earlier. And some of the kids are dancing together, as kids tend to, just grabbing each other's hands and bouncing around in circles. There's an atmosphere of complete contentment and merriment and community here. And you enter the camp. And Cedric's like, "Good to see you back.
Good to be back.
Please come and make yourselves comfortable. The food's on, you can have whatever you want."
Pass over the random bits and bobs that we got.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. And you can see that on top of this big pot of vegetarian stew, there's a whole table of like steamed fish and fresh cooked meat and cheeses. And you can all sort of gather round the tree and
Loose bag of fondue.
Great. Sack of cheese. Now probably hard. It's been several hours.
It's fine, just stick it back over the fire.
Yeah, they can pull like a piece of cloth over the pot and let it steam again until the cheese is melted, and then also can dip some bread into it. And you can find yourself some seats, basically in the leaf litter. Put out bedrolls or whatever you want to sit on.
Fancy bedroll.
Your fancy bedroll.
Luxury.
And sit around with a bowl of stew and a platter of sort of fresh food.
Before we get any further into the night, have you got that blueprint?
Yes. And then we'll take it out and roll it out.
Okay, go over a plan of action.
Yes. Put some stones in the corners to keep it like flat.
Mm-hmm.
And then focusing on the memories that Bramble put into Astra's head, I'm going to cast Major Image.
Okay.
And make an image of where everyone was on the fortress. Like, on the map itself. And like, the camp that had been outside. And just be like, okay, so what Bramble saw was all of these people. There's about 20 people inside, some creature he couldn't see. And then halfway through the day, these people attacked and have them move in, and then show exactly the techniques that we use, like with the arrows and
Vanden's
the oil.
face is just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He pulls out some of his new parchment and like, starts furiously noting down everything you said.
I have never thought to use the spell like this.
It's brilliant.
Well done.
Astra, this is amazing.
We can sit together sometime, make something really big.
Sure. It might even help for this, who knows?
A very big distraction might be handy.
But yes, so, and then again we'll show the two people dragging the third into a room, and show like what room that was, where people were just wandering around, what looked like dorm rooms.
Yeah,
or
you convey all the details as best you can that Bramble put into your head, and essentially the group of us see this fortress which has 3 levels and like a mezzanine level, like a smaller level between the first floor and the ground floor, which just seems to have a terrace. At the bottom you see a large courtyard with several doors coming off of it, and a staircase up to this mezzanine level, which seems to have a terrace with, according to Astra's major image, like maybe some training dummies on it. And then there's a second floor which goes all around, like inside the walls of the fortress, so the courtyard is in the center, like a hollow donut. And in there you see bedrooms. From where Bramble has looked through windows, you can see storage rooms with stacks, huge crates of things that have been basically smuggled in and out of this fortress. You see that the entrance comes down a thin spit of land, and it gets thinner and thinner until it becomes the wooden bridge that you saw when you were approaching across the water. And the huge wooden double doors that the people were trying to siege earlier are at the end of the bridge, which basically bottlenecks people across the bridge to the doors at the end. To approach the walls instead of the front doors, you would have to cross water, and then up these steep rubble banks, and then you're looking at like 50 to 60 foot walls around the outside. At the top there are 3 towers, and there are battlement walls with spaces for people to shoot arrows down from. There is hot oil on either side of the door, and there are ballistas positioned around the walls. And right in the centre there's a square keep, which you would probably know, otherwise Vanden can tell you, is like the last point of defence. If they think they're going to be overrun, everyone will flee into the keep.
Right, so our current plan is to overtake the cart on its way back from the farmers. Use the spell scroll to appear as...
Should we send someone out to a familiar or something to spy on the farm?
I can do that.
Bramble might be tired.
Should make an owl.
Okay. Send it back out to the farm. We've wasted a few hours on it, but it can sort of perch on the roof of Pilgrim's Rest Cottage and watch the farm.
Use the spell scroll to appear as the same people in the cart. If there's only 3 of them, 1 person hide with the supplies. So we're going into the fortress.
To take it from the inside.
To take it from the inside. Two things I can offer that might be useful, but I have to choose, is I can either, like I said before, I have a potion that would make me a very good climber. I also have a spell that could do that for someone else. You can fly, we have grappling hooks. Or I have something that would make 3 of us invisible.
Okay.
Invisible's pretty handy.
But it doesn't account for the 4th person.
I could always enter from the sky, if that was the case.
And I can always be something really small.
That's also true. And when we were invisible back in Shadeborn,
I just went in your pocket.
just little Dawnbringers things.
That's delightful.
Pocket full of Sariel.
Whatever we think would be more useful, I can change out tonight.
What is our plan once we're inside?
Just a question, with your invisibility, is it the case that if we were to do anything or attack anyone,
Yes,
it would drop? Okay.
Good to know.
Well, we said we wanted to cut the head off, didn't we?
So we find Ulfrin and
Capture.
hope that is enough to make the others stand down.
We could be a bargaining chip. I mean, we don't know how loyal they are to him. Like whether they'll all fight back if we were to kill him, or if they were to just drop weapons and leave. There was also the sound of a beast in there. What kind of a beast? Like what sort of... Bramwell couldn't see it, but...
Make a nature check.
Thank you.
Based on the sound.
That's a nat 1, so 9.
Type.
The sound is faintly familiar to you, but you can't place it at all. I'll allow you to make another nature check later to try and remember.
With your major image, you'd be able to make the sound.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, you can replicate the sound.
Major image has sound.
I'd say everyone can make a nature check. Everyone has heard something similar to this.
Interesting.
It's probably a... like... 12. Why then, no.
Dirty 20.
Nice. Yeah, Vanden got an 18, so I would say both of you remember quite clearly the sound of the troll.
Oh!
From all the way back near the start of your adventure together.
God.
Troll.
That's what that sounds like.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Remember in the swamp.
Oh.
But probably not a swampy one.
So we're thinking about something very large.
And resilient.
I mean, that thing, I'm sure we could take it on now, the one we saw in the swamps.
But teamed up with 20 men.
But it just means that striking quietly is probably the way forward, so that it doesn't enter the fray.
For sure.
Do any of us know much about trolls and like whether it would be like particularly loyal to these people, or if maybe like they've got it chained up or something, if we were to release it, if it would just start massacring people?
Because we could make a troll.
We could make a troll.
Okay.
We could make it seem like a troll has escaped if we got eyes on it.
I'd say you could vaguely know about trolls that they are not particularly territorial. They're kind of unbalanced in terms of what they're interested in.
Same.
So
Hyperfixation.
Hyperfixate. So they can be used in combat. They can't particularly be trained. They're not massively smart.
Same.
But if they have it there, they're either using it like a weapon in which they release the troll and run away, or
maybe it's pushing something.
The troll is just there and doesn't hurt any of them. And it's either one or the other of those options.
Okay.
Which is not particularly helpful.
No. But if we get in there invisibly and get eyes on
We
it.
could release it if we were invisible and it wouldn't see us to attack us.
Or we can release it.
With illusions.
Interesting.
Just another option.
And it's looking over the blueprints at where you said the sound came from. And he taps one of them, sort of a smaller section on its own. This looks like a underground level, an undercroft or a dungeon or... No, it looks large. I don't know, perhaps if Remmel couldn't see anything like that through the windows, then it's underground.
If you were the head of this operation, where would you normally hide out?
Perhaps an office in the keep. It depends on what kind of leader this Ulfrin is, whether he wants to be in the fray with his men or whether he'd rather sit back in safety and...
Because really we want to locate him before we start moving.
Again, if we're in there, Bramble can be invisible and flying around to find him.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if we're just in there dressed like some of the men, you know?
Seeming to be dressed like some of the men.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we want to locate Ulfrin, trap him or restrain him, and then see if the men stand down. And if they don't,
We fight them.
We fight our way out.
perhaps use the same technique they clearly have on the doors and find some way to bottleneck them.
Yes.
Down. If they're trying to get downstairs or upstairs.
Maybe up. We don't want to be trapped in any sort of dungeon.
So, from the get-go, our plan is just quiet infiltration. We will appear as people who belong there. If we get caught, for whatever reason, we quiet the people who've caught us, and then we can perhaps think about going invisible or something like that.
Sure.
Sounds good.
We're going to send Bramble in the morning and he can go have a flitter around and see if he can find Ulfric. So that when we get close, he can give me the information that we need.
Once we have the cart, we need to talk to Sylvette as well.
You can just send her a message if you want.
That would be appropriate.
Okay. That sounds like some semblance of a plan. I don't think there's any accounting for what's going to happen if it does go wrong, but we've taken on nearly 20 men before, and I can't imagine these smugglers are too heavily trained.
They're just holding a very good position.
Exactly.
For people who aren't thinking of more creative ways to get inside.
As soon as we're in, they lose the advantage of all of their ballista
Oil
defences.
How do we want to divvy up these bombs, if we want to use them?
3 bombs, 3 of you.
Sure. Who wants what?
So
I don't know what any of these do.
So blight is what I can do, but
Necrotic
damage, but presumably with a explosive like that it'll affect more people because usually I can only affect one person at a time.
I think he said something to the effect of it will hit everybody it explodes around.
Bestow curse, you can...
There's a few things that can do.
There's a few things that can do, but I don't know if then the bomb would be pre-programmed for something specific.
I would say you can vaguely know about Bestow Curse that you can disadvantage ability checks and saving throws made with one particular ability score.
Dang.
Target, or you can have target have disadvantage on attack rolls against the person who casts the spell, or target must make a whiz save at the start of each turn, and if it fails it wastes its action doing nothing.
Okay.
Finally, if it's cursed, your attacks and spells deal an extra 1d8 necrotic damage. Like one of those options.
Okay. And then, can we like roll an Arcana check for the Elemental Bane, or...?
Yeah. You can roll an Arcana check so you can know what that is.
Sure. See if we can go higher than that. No, but both very close. 23.
Oh yeah, 23. I mean, Cassian has done some studying of magic, even though he hasn't learned the spells himself that way. With Elemental Bane, you essentially choose one creature with the regular spell and pick a damage type, and it must make a con save or take 2d6 extra damage of that type each turn.
These will be really useful for if there's a big group of them coming at us.
For sure, and we have a big area of effect spell. But then it's pre-agreeing as to what sort of damage we want to It's pre-agreeing to what sort of damage we want people to be weakened to.
Is that something we'll be able to establish, or is it with the nature of the flare, like it's a random thing that will come up?
That you'd have to assume that whoever made the bomb had to choose the effect.
Okay, so we don't know what that is.
No.
Okay. Is there any way of finding out? Like,
I like
could ask
identify it.
Leaf, or you could identify it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can spend some time trying to figure these out, see if we can learn any more about them.
Would you mind doing that? I need to make a cow outfit.
Sure. I'll spend some time. These little Dawnbringers things.
This is never going to stop being funny to me.
Yeah, I'll spend some time identifying the Elemental Bane and the Bestow Curse potions.
Sure. I would say the Elemental Bane you discover quite quickly is acid damage.
Oh.
And the Bestow Curse is disadvantage on strength ability checks and saving throws.
Okay, so the Bestow Curse will make it difficult for them to fight with weaponry.
This is 2 hours later.
Yeah,
like we've probably gone our separate ways by this point.
But just so
in a cow outfit.
Just so I don't forget it now.
Yeah.
So this Bestow Curse one will be good for if they're coming at us with swords or heavy weaponry. And the Elemental Bane one is good for if anyone attacks them with acid damage.
Also, you can just go Primal Savage on everyone.
Let's see if there's anything else that I can do. Should acid.
While Sariel identifies, Cassian, you can begin working on a cow outfit if you want.
Like, is everything kind of winding down, or?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Cow outfit.
He will retrieve the materials for the cow outfit and kind of lay them out while Sariel's doing her business and Astra's doing whatever Astra's doing. We'll kind of go up to Vanden and be like, would you walk with me for a while?
Sure.
Thanks.
Before they head off on a walk, Astra, is there anything particular you're doing for the evening?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Is it a long thing? Is it
Not particularly.
okay? We'll do that.
Okay. So after the map business is done and concluded, I want to find little Finn again.
You can find him over by. You think it must be Francois, who is playing the pan flute. He's playing the pan flute at the other side of the camp, and Finn is just there with the other kids doing that sort of kid dance, where he just like bop around. Francois. And then he sees you coming over, and he's like, Uncle Astra.
Hi. Got a friend for you to meet.
Really? Okay. Sort of looks around like, sure, where?
Bramble. I'm gonna let Bramble come back out of the cape and
All of the children stop and go wide-eyed. None more so than Finn. It's like, what is that?
fairy dragon. Come on, Bramble, you can go say hello. Bramble will go over and nuzzle face.
Grab. Gently. Nuzzle, nuzzle, nuzzle. He's so cool! Mom! 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 You see Lena get up from where she was sitting down and just having something to eat, just like, what's that? It's not dangerous, is it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He's just a little baby fairy dragon.
It's so cute. Can I have one?
If you can find one.
Where do I find one?
Oh, Bramble found me, so maybe want to find you.
Looks down at Bramble and is like, do you think you could tell some of your friends to try and find me?
Lick your tongue. I think that's a yes.
Come on, Bramble! You see he goes running through the trees, sort of backwards and forwards, with this fairy dragon chasing him.
Euphoria breath sparks everywhere, like, yeah!
And before long, all of the children are running and whooping through the woods with Bramble. Like, do it again! As Bramble just lets out a cone of euphoria breath into the middle of the air. Whoop whoop! Meanwhile, back at the Keltvit.
We're We are leaving the outfit behind.
Yes.
It's been laid out and prepared.
Of course.
Just into the woods, I suppose.
Sure. Vanden will pursue as you lead away out of the camp.
Yeah. Just having a nice little quiet walk for a bit. Trying to think of how to say stuff.
So, this has been quite an enlightening few days all round.
All round.
How are you feeling?
Just... I don't want to say I feel sorry for myself, because I don't. I just... bad.
Guilty?
Yes.
To be honest, I'd be shocked if you didn't.
Just feels very... heavy. I just...
It matters that you don't want to be that kind of person anymore.
Hurts my head to think that a woman took her life over something I said, even if that was one of the only things that was true.
You... for that. I have to admit that I don't feel good about the things that you confess to doing, but you can't hold yourself fully accountable for people's responses to information. I know it feels bad, and it should. I mean, guilt is healthy when you've done something wrong, but you're also not responsible for the actions of other people. You're only responsible for your own actions. And those are the things you have to be wary of what you do.
I can understand that. You always give the best advice.
It's because I mostly talk to myself.
You know you can talk to us as well.
I struggle with that, obviously, as you're quite aware.
Yes.
But it's not like I just keep it all bottled up inside me all the time. Why do you think I write so much? I just write all of it down.
Writing's good. I found that recently. No, I was of a mind to say that perhaps you should call in your favour to ask me to leave, and I wouldn't be able to say no, but after everything you said earlier, that seems stupid now.
Is that seriously going through your head?
Yes?
Do you know what that is?
What?
It's just self-pity. You want us to cast you out for this?
No, I just...
You think that's the right course of action? That we should want to cast you out?
I thought that maybe you would, yes. I haven't forgotten as long ago as it was when you said that this group didn't need me. And I know things have changed since then, but I don't know. Those words came back with all this.
Well, I don't think we'd do nearly as well without you now. And besides, you're not the same person that I met 4 months ago.
Glad to hear it.
I do feel a little justified in my early opinions of you, I have to say.
Oh, you should. Absolutely.
I want nothing more than to keep this group safe. And I don't want to see any of you unhappy.
The feeling's mutual, Vanden.
Sariel's obviously shaken by this.
Don't think I haven't noticed.
Then you should have really brought her out to speak and not me.
I thought she would maybe like the space. I don't want to come across like I'm trying to coerce her into forgiveness.
So you're just going to wait for her to come to you first?
I figured I'd at least give her today.
Well, whatever you do, I think you should approach her first. Otherwise, it's pretty damn cowardly. It's your mistake.
Sure, you're right. I would hate to leave things simmering.
And she might be hurting, but she's reasonable. She's probably the most sensible person here.
Probably.
You're thinking about that card reading a lot.
Yes.
Me too. Not about yours. Just
About yours. What in particular is scratching at your mind this time?
burden. I don't even know what I'm trying to do anymore, Cassian. I was so determined when we first found out what my brother did in Shadeborn that I would see justice done. Go back there. I don't know. Gather an army of my own and bring justice to him for what he'd done.
And now?
Then what? What happens after I've torn my supposedly only surviving family member off the throne of Mirrodale?
Would you want to take over?
I'm no king, Cassian. But I don't even know if I'm capable of any of those things. I know things that I am capable of. And I can't really judge you without being a hypocrite anyway.
Why? You said before you thought that memories resurfacing were making you out to not be the person you thought you were. Take your time.
I have this memory of going to Lockwood. I don't know whether I've ever explained this properly. You saw him in my vision.
He's like a tutor or something?
It was my mentor from a young age and my father's, I guess, High Sage was his official title.
Mm-hmm.
And a very, very close friend of mine and my brother's, but going to him and asking him to help me and make me forget things. I've hurt people. Lots of people.
Do you remember why?
It's still foggy.
Sit down.
He just flops down to sit on the forest floor.
Just crouches down opposite.
I have this memory of setting a ship alight. A whole ship.
Just up in flames. But no context.
All I know is it was one of ours.
But no one's ever spoken about anything like this to you. You've never had any kind of consequence for that.
Not that I remember.
He looks genuinely stumped.
All I remember is it feeling powerful.
Casting. Perhaps this is some link to your aversion to magic.
Sorry, I don't think I can talk about this anymore.
Understandable.
I'd like to go back to the camp and drink something.
We have alcohol left.
Sorry.
No.
This is not what this conversation was supposed to be.
Vanden, you don't need to apologise to me. Everything is fucked. And none of us are going to be okay for a while. And we can all just sit around quietly and enjoy each other's company. We can talk about it when we're ready to talk about it.
You're right. Thanks.
Always here for you. Shut up.
Stand up again. Sort of straighten his back.
Mhm.
And walk back to the camp.
Mhm.
He looks for Astra.
Hello.
And walks straight over to him, grabs his wrist, and pulls him a little way away from the kind but strange people here. And just hugs him.
Hugs back.
I don't want to fight with you. I don't have it in me.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I've made lots of promises that I need to keep and I've already broken them. I trust you, Vanden. I trust you and Cassian and Sariel, and I know you won't tell people what I've told you, but at the same time I'm so scared of doing it. But I need you to trust me as well, that I'm doing the best thing for where I come from.
I believe you. I'm just going through some personal questions at the moment, and I'm probably projecting a little bit of my turmoil on you.
Whenever I want to have those questions out loud, I'm always there. Always have been.
I know. You're the first person who ever agreed to be my friend since we started travelling. So. Claps a hand on your shoulder. It's all a little bit stiff and awkward, and he's like, I'm gonna go and have a drink.
Sure, me too.
And he'll bring himself back over and sit quite close to Sariel, who's probably still identifying things.
Cassian is retrieving the alcohol, laying it out, grabbing the outfit and starting to work on it.
Just takes the black cap one. He knows he can drink it and you guys can't, so why not?
True. At some point then, after that bit, I'm going to go over to Finn's mum and just, hello mum. Finn's mum. Stop. And just mutter with her and ask her permission to, like, do something.
She's like, of course. I'm sure, of course, whatever you want to do is fine, without you saying it out loud.
And then call Finn over again, like, I don't think I'm quite done with surprises for you, it seems.
What's next? He's got like bramble wrapped around him like a scarf now. Like,
come on, take a seat.
Flop.
I'm going to pull out my loot. And out of the bag of holding, I'm going to pull out the loot that Lynette named. Oh. And I'm going to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mockingbird. Your auntie named that. I played it from when I was about your age.
It's really pretty.
You can have it.
Looks at Lena like, can I? Mm-hmm.
And, well, I'm going to look at like an empty spot next to where we are and just start playing. And as I do, I'm going to cast Major Image again. and an image of Katelyn, Lynette, Amel, and Esther are going to appear dancing to the music that he's playing.
You've caught the attention of the entire camp. And Finn just looks up in absolute awe. He's only ever seen one other tiefling, and that's his dad. And now you, and now this whole tableau of tieflings who mostly look like him.
Esther and Katelyn are probably just... Katelyn stood and Esther sat watching as Amel and Lynette dance. It's definitely a memory rather than an illusion of them.
The camp sort of stare on, especially the older members of the camp, just sort of in shock and surprise and nostalgic happiness. You see Cedric's like, he's grown up. And Finn eventually gets up very gently, places the loot down, to which Lena like scoops it up very quickly to make sure it's safe, and starts dancing around to the music as well, like with the illusion. And a couple of people start clapping along with the song that you're playing anyway. The pan flute picks up the beat as well, and before long you've got the whole camp dancing, besides Cedric and Mia, who just sort of watch on, leant back, enjoying this image of their old friend.
It'll fade after about 10 minutes. Just think how long it lasts.
As soon as it does, Finn runs up to you and just wraps himself around your leg.
Hello.
Lena's like, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's okay.
Thank you!
I thought you deserved to see your granddad and your uncle and your aunt. And my mum too.
I really like them. I hope you can make them come visit again soon. Can you show me how to play?
Yes, of course I can.
And you can sit down with Finn and start showing him some basic finger movements on the lute. Sounds terrible. Awful music.
Emerald.
He's trying though, you know?
Yeah.
He'll get a C chord eventually, unlike Emerald, who's like, this'll do!
Emerald has been playing for like years and hasn't got anything.
Refuses to learn.
That's what I'll spend my night doing.
Yeah, sit there and play music with him. Play something nice, he badly imitates it. But eventually you can sort of get the kind of song going where he can strum like C, D, E.
Nice.
Every couple of bars of your song and feels like he's involved.
Share some drinks with Vanden and Sariel. Try and lighten the mood by making some more cow jokes as I sew cow rail on.
After like several mouthfuls of the black cap blitzer, Vanden, I wouldn't say he lightens up, but he definitely
He has no
eases
choice.
He ups.
He ups.
He gets some uppies.
Sariel, he'll go from sitting next to you with like this thunderous, concerned face to just like, huh. Drunk, huh.
Feel better?
For now.
That's something.
This better be the best damn cow raylon costume the world's ever seen.
I mean, I've never seen another cow raylon costume.
Well, it's setting a precedent.
For future cow raylons out there.
Sure.
Do you think a raylon would be offended?
I think so. I think cyanine is just withering right
what
now.
What pun do you think they're going to make for cyanine Mubo?
I'd rather you called her a slur.
Give me a moment. Corelon.
What the hell are you doing?
Corelon. I know it's been like 100 years. Maybe more.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. But this town loves their art, and I know you do too. How are you feeling about this outfit? I'm going to make it as beautiful as I can. Sorry for not staying in touch, but you know, family business and all that. I hope you're good. Peace be with you. I don't... Thanks for the inspiration, I guess.
Were you praying?
I haven't prayed in years, Vanden.
You ever prayed? It definitely
It shows!
I briefly worshipped Katelyn when I was a lot younger.
Briefly? How briefly is briefly?
Like maybe 30 to 50 years.
That's brief.
I mean, that's more than twice as long as I've been alive. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Thanks.
You're allowed this.
We used to go to the festival every year.
Mm.
You probably saw some of
We
them.
have this festival in Mirror Hill because we have a Katelyn cathedral, and they have an arts festival every year in Katelyn's name, and people donate masterpieces of art to the temple as offerings. You look like you're angry about this. I think it's quite cool.
Cool for some.
But it's nice to look at.
Yes, but the deal was I spend a century learning to take over the family business, and I have a worthwhile part in it. And then it changed. And then it became, no, Cassian, you have to submit something to the Basilica that's worthy of Katelyn's acceptance.
That sounds like parents.
And I said, no. You either take what you get and accept my own worth, or nothing.
Huh.
And since then, I've never had the promotion at my parents' own shop.
Wow. All parents are the same.
It's the crushing expectation of it all.
You know, the only time my dad ever looked like he was proud of something that I'd done was when I brought home my first freaking paycheck from the cartographers when I was 14.
The fact that they even put you to work at 14 still seems absurd.
It was a standard working age. I mean, I was chosen as the warden of the East when I was 8 years old. So, from then onwards, everything was prepare yourself to become the warden of the East. They chose it 10 years before the previous one was going to retire, so there'd be enough time to make sure I was perfect. And so I did studies abroad. I studied in Farrelstadt for an entire summer. Basically didn't see the sun because, you know, Farrelstadt's like so drab. I did my cartography apprenticeship and I worked for 2 years solid doing that. And then I took on the role of Commodore when I was 16 years old. Nobody took me seriously.
Keep going, it feels like this all needs to come out.
Just...
It sounds like you're very overdue a rant and a holiday.
I think about burden, and I think about the fact this is the least I've ever had to do in my entire life.
Then you should be celebrating that. Pass me the blitzer.
You're gonna try it again?
Yes.
That's it straight to you.
Go.
Make a constitution saving throw.
God.
Are you trying that fire one again?
Yeah, he is.
14.
I don't know what the DC was.
10.
10, okay. Yeah, it tastes better this time. It tastes more like a campfire. Do you want to join us?
Yes.
Cassian's telling us how he used to worship Katelyn,
Oh yes, you mentioned about that.
I did.
and I am telling them about how I was chosen as warden when I was 8 years old.
Are you gonna be my alcohol one or you not?
I don't know, you should stick with the first choice. I don't know.
Let's find out.
It's black. Roll the black dice.
Is that a crit? Astra.
So not 2021.
Maybe it's where you are in this grove. Maybe it's how inspired you feel teaching a small boy music. But you take a swig of this thing and it goes down smoothly. and mingled with the smell of campfire smoke in the air, you just feel that sensation like you've just drunk a campfire.
Oh, that's really nice, actually.
I told you.
When you don't have to spit it out, it goes down great.
You want to try it?
I suppose I have to now, don't
Astra, do that thing. The thing.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. Guidance.
That thing.
I just give people a bit of a pep talk. No, 7.
Too petite.
Oh, it tastes like ashes.
I feel like maybe Sariel needs to drink like a fraction of the amount because she's so small.
Like a quarter of it. A quarter of a spoon.
I have barely that.
It's very nice.
I'll leave it to you.
Swig.
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 Oh,
What?
this hits faster than wine.
It's good.
Really good.
Just so long as you're all up and out and tomorrow, what we have to do.
Shouldn't be stitching like this.
Are you gonna finish Camarilla in time?
I should be stitching faster.
Who knows how busy we'll be tomorrow when we're raiding an entire fortress.
This is true. We're raiding an entire fortress tomorrow. We have a very solid plan.
Yes,
I mean, I would not call it the most solid plan.
No, it's very solid.
It's a plan.
It definitely is a plan.
I'm going to give these to you tomorrow, but I think you should have the bestow curse.
Okay.
If you are an up-close melee fighter,
Sure.
because
Sounds good.
then they won't hit you as easily.
Nice.
You should have the blight.
Okay.
I'll take the elemental bane because I can.
Yes.
Okay, but
But.
the blight.
Yes.
Blight.
What?
What kind of damage did you say that was?
Necrotic.
What?
What?
I mean, if I can just lure them all towards me, I can just drop that right at my feet.
Can you stop with this?
What?
Like, we all know you're a little bit hardier with these things, but no one wants to see you get hurt like that.
I barely feel it.
Stop being such a hero.
Martyr.
I'm not. I'm just.
These things, you can throw these things, you know, and then you don't affect yourself.
We can still lure people into an area and just drop it on them.
Especially you from above. There you go, you can do that.
No, I don't really want these people seeing my wings.
They don't deserve it.
It's more if any of them get away.
True.
This is not something I want to keep spreading around.
Stop doing it on ships then.
Well, when some people can't stay on the ship and fall overboard.
Hey!
She can turn into a shark,
That's
Vanden.
fine. Has anybody thought about our horses?
Oh no.
They're still on that boat.
They belong to Farrelstad now.
Oh.
Maybe Elias can send them on.
How would
No.
they not?
I don't know.
We can buy new horses.
I can just teleport back there.
Teleport back the next day.
Right, 4 of them back here.
No, teleport them
With
back
the
again.
horses.
At some point. I don't even know when they're going to get that. Did you have Elias's name in your book?
I never had Elias's name in my book. I have Sam.
Ah.
Oh, you can ask Sam when they're going to arrive.
Okay, babe.
Hey Sam. Long time no talk. It's Cassian.
What are you wearing?
Tell them I say hi.
Are you still at sea?
Tell them I say hi.
We realized we forgot our horses.
Tell them I say hi.
We'd like the horses back, but we don't know when.
Tell them I say hi.
Sure, I told him you said hi. I don't.
Hello, Cassian.
It just appears on the page.
3 more days. I don't like this.
Did you say hi?
It is kind of late at night at this point.
They'll be back in Farrelstad in 3 more days.
We'll see how things play out.
It's so feral.
Well, because you never know. One day we're just Like, oh, we'll be there in one day, and then the next thing we know, we've been held up by a freaky cursed carnival or a huge storm out of nowhere or a sea monster.
We might be able to fetch them from you. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'd be arrested on sight.
Yes, you would.
But we can arrange to maybe meet at the edge of Farrelstadt. Because then you
No, I can only go to Farrelstadt, straight into the Stealth
We
Fortress.
can just get new horses!
Never mind, Sam. Sorry to bother you this late. Shut it. I don't want to see the response.
the name out quickly!
Immediately goes back to drunken sewing.
You probably shouldn't hang on to his name.
No more Sam Beckett.
There were other horses.
Always other horses.
Yeah, but it's sad when you get attached to one.
Okay, horse boy.
Kill you.
You can try. Get some sleep.
Okay. I don't suppose we need to watch here.
Well, I'm going to be up sewing this, so I'll keep an eye out for spooky owls.
Speaking of the owl, make a perception check.
I was just going to say that I would have like topped up the owl. Like putting the gas meter in.
Yeah. Put a little bit more fuel in the tank.
Here's a fiver, go down the corner shop, put some money on the gas meter.
Some money on the owl.
Thanks, Mum, for the money. 17.
17. Okay. It's probably not for 3 or 4 hours that the owl just sits there on top of the cottage roof and watches. But eventually you see a single man coming up the track and turning in towards the farm. There's no cart.
Do we recognise the man?
You don't recognise the man. Seems to be wearing like a overcoat over maybe some leather armour. The owl can sort of fly over this and get a closer look. Heads up to the farmhouse, pulls a piece of paper out of his pocket, knocks on the door. It takes about a minute before a light comes on in the bedroom of the farmhouse, and then sort of you see candlelight coming down and the front door opens and it's the farmer. And the man says, plans for tomorrow, and passes the paper over. And the farmer's like, what changed? It's like, just follow the plans. And then turns around on his heel before the door's even closed and heads away.
Can the owl see what's on the paper at all or not?
It's just folded up. The farmer takes it inside.
If we're still awake at that point, Sariel will relay. Looks like the smugglers are coming tomorrow.
It's like, Cassian's probably up, so Vanden will have gone drunkenly to sleep.
Okay.
Up to Astra whether he's awake or resting.
This is a lot of emotional turmoil for one day. Astra's asleep.
He's asleep. He needs to recover. So yeah, you relay this information to Cassian.
Reverenda's coming tomorrow to the farmer.
Okay. We can pass that on in the morning when everyone's had a good night's sleep. Night, Sariel.
Night.
Stay up, stitching.
Yeah, she'll have a little nap and then offer to swap out so you can have 4 hours.
Yeah, he will furiously stitch away and then sort of think about things that have been said during the day. Scribble down a little note and just like really surreptitiously tuck it under Vanden's pillow.
Alright.
And then go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Nudge Sariel awake to take a watch. And not much happens. I mean, most people are asleep, the campfire's still going, and everyone is kind of clearly quite comfortable in these woods that nothing is going to happen in the night.
But we don't trust like that.
The only thing that does happen is close to the sun coming up, you notice that Vanden is clearly having what seems like a pretty bad dream based on how much he's tossing and turning in his bedroll.
Okay, she'll watch him for a moment, but then cast her healing spirit and get it to go just snuggle down next to him.
He sort of seems to calm down for a brief while, and then just bolt upright.
You're okay. You're safe.
Yeah,
Just breathe.
just dreaming again.
I can see that. Do you want to talk about it?
It was... The moon was full. And huge again in the sky. Bright red. There was an altar, the body on it, I can't, the details aren't clear.
Did you recognise where you were?
I think it was the same as last time.
What else?
Wings.
Yours or someone else's?
I don't know. Just as though bloodied, but all of it was gold. Felt like I was dying. But I don't think it was me.
Were you... Was it as if you were watching it from above, or were you part of it?
More like just a series of images. I don't think I was even present.
Could be a lot of things. Memories coming back to you, or...
Doesn't feel like it.
No.
It feels like when memories come back, I'm so aware that they're mine. I said this to Cassian a couple of nights ago, but I feel like something big is coming. It's like a innate feeling deep inside me.
It's not long till the next full moon.
It's not.
Is there any defining features about the place that you're in? Anything that we could use to identify where it is?
Two spires, one with a metal sun tipping the spire and the other with a moon.
Does that mean anything to me?
I won't make you roll. Doesn't mean anything.
Okay. Well, that's quite distinct.
And then just these wings, they were... I'm sure they weren't mine because they were so big. These blood splatters, but they're all iridescent like gold. I'm bored of this now.
I know it's unsettling, but sometimes it's really helpful to have a view of that sort of thing before it happens.
Do you think these are predictions?
Sometimes they can be.
Well, I trust your word on that. I guess we should just keep our wits about us, if they are.
There's something I've been thinking about trying for a while. It's always seemed a bit beyond my capabilities, but with this deck of cards that Astra got me, I think that maybe I can try it. See if I can see what's happening or what might happen.
That would be really helpful.
Give me a day or two to figure out these cards a bit more.
Thanks, Sarah.
Just try and sleep.
My head is throbbing. I'm going to lie down again.
The hair will snuggle up with him.
He does fall asleep again, and eventually everybody wakes with the morning light. Those of us who drank the Black Cat Blitzer doesn't feel great.
Even on one?
Even on one.
Strong.
You're taking a shot of like 90% proof.
Hell yeah.
Oof.
Sexy.
Are you rolling for your inspiration?
I don't get inspiration, but I feel great.
It does feel like the best night's sleep you've had in ages and ages. Even despite the fact that you're slightly hungover, you're like waking up like, oh, there's not an ache in my body. Katelyn and Vanden, on the other hand, groggy, in pain, uncomfortable.
How's the sleeping bag?
Oh, it's so good. It's so cozy in this thing.
Must be nice.
It is.
This is worse than the wine.
This is a lot stronger than wine.
Help.
Help! Cassie, make a constitution saving throw.
Come on, wasabi baby.
Help.
11.
11. Okay. You don't feel weak, but you do feel like you're probably going to need to empty your guts before you eat anything this morning.
No.
My dear friends, I request
Yes.
a short execution of myself. Do not listen to the noise that is soon to come from me. And he will
Just go.
scarper and retch.
There is a distant
And then return.
pleasant.
You didn't hear anything.
Drink water.
I was just simply commenting on the morning bird song.
A beautiful song.
Strange birds around here.
Big swig of water.
Ben's going to take a swig of water and then a swig of one of the remaining alcohols that isn't the black cap, just for a little bit of hair in the dog this morning.
Are you supposed to do that?
No. It makes the feeling go away a little bit.
It's a little sip of the one that tastes like sweets.
It's like you feel like your insides are turning to an ashtray, but you don't feel as sick.
Okay. So that's a start.
Should we make some breakfast?
I can get something sorted.
Thank you. You can make some breakfast, and other people start rousing in the camp, but it looks like the communal meal is an evening thing, and everyone's just sort of like doing bread and cheese and leftovers.
While the morning is slow, I will continue to work on the cow outfit.
The outfit.
The cow outfit. I'm working tirelessly on this thing. It's gonna be banging.
Nice. Vanden will at some point ask if the owl saw anything to which you can relay.
Yes, they're due to be coming today. I figured if I send something out now, I can keep a watch and we'll know when it's on its way there and we can head it off on the way back.
What did you see?
Well, I didn't see a cart, it was just a single person coming up the track. I knocked on the door and spoke to the farmer, handed them a piece of paper.
Okay, fair enough. I guess we can hope for the best.
Question. Do we want to wait for them to, assail the farmer for his goods?
Or take them out on the way? Maybe on the way.
Because it feels a bit cruel to be like, we'll step in.
But only after the fact.
Yeah.
Sure.
The only thing, I do agree with you. I just think the only thing was to be coming back to the fortress, we'd need to have a cart full of goods.
We do have a bag full of goods. I mean, in the bag of holding, you didn't see this yesterday, we now have a battering ram, and that's pretty huge. And a very large crossbow. They were quite difficult to get in. Just shoveling. They were strange angles.
If there's only 3 people and we don't have the cart, we have nowhere to hide the 4th person.
No, we're talking about getting the cart, but if we don't have the goods, it will look like there's nothing on it.
Right.
Because I just feel a bit cruel to,
rob the farmer.
Yes.
Sure.
I'm sure we can make it work, and if we don't, we can take it to the farmer in disguise and be like, put the goods on the cart if it doesn't work.
I mean, it would be better to have the goods.
We can take them back, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
once
'cause-
everything's said and done.
Because I don't want people knocking on his door and,
And I don't want us to come in, especially if they might inspect the cart.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, it's a good point.
No, I do see where you're coming from.
Should we tell him that's happening today then, or should we leave him out of it?
I say we leave him out of it.
Probably the less he knows, the better.
True.
I will send a board
Bored.
to watch on a post.
Yeah, I say you can probably set it on the farmhouse now and just watch across the wheat.
Fucking bushels of wheat that are gonna go on this cart.
Where you guys see Teresa?
You can sort of take the morning a little bit slower here, just like spend your time working on the cow costume and nursing your hangovers.
We'll divvy up the potions.
And you wait and wait, and before the bird sees anything, Cassian, you start to feel a faint burning sensation around your neck.
You okay? Let me see. Is it?
You could just see it's kind of throbbing, kind of red hot, and then it eases up again as you realise you must be in these woods at the very edge of your limitation of the mile away from Sylvette, and if she's moving around in the town,
We should move further in.
Probably.
We can do that.
you're going to take 3 fire damage.
Okay. Cool, I guess we'll pack up our stuff and
Yeah. Head further back towards the farm.
as Vanden packs up his sleeping bag, he will find a small note hidden inside.
What does it say?
Just sort of, kind of drunkenly written, but along the lines of, "You're right. Writing makes things easier. If you want to write me sometime, we can write each other. I care about you a lot. Always here."
Pen pals on the road.
Tucks that away for later. Drunken handwriting.
Yeah. It's just like, thinking of you.
From across the tent.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we are walking, Ash is just going to be humming in a good mood for waking up in a place that reminds him so much of home. And all 3 of you for 8 hours are going to get 15 extra hit points.
Oh.
As I cast Aid
Oh, baby.
Nice.
at 4th level.
Yo.
Sir.
Sir.
It's 15 extra hit points though.
Nice.
That's sick.
You head back down the road. And as you do, you see a couple of figures walking back up the road. And after about 20 paces, you realise you're looking at Sylvette and Ingrid.
Oh.
They sort of head your direction, and Sylvette sort of got her hands behind her head, her ponytail swinging, and she's like, "Good morning, Monty. How did you sleep?"
Drunkenly.
Sounds like a fun night then. I was expecting to find you in the town, not out in the woods.
Long story.
A long story.
Well, word has it that Jean-Luc's men are moving on the stronghold tonight, so if you want to get there first, you better have a plan.
Well, we're moving today, so.
Good. Good. She looks considerably more pleased to hear that you already have a plan.
We are actually waiting for a group of men to apprehend.
Okay. Well, you want to tell me more about it, or...
Sure. I'll relay the long and short of the plan that we are going to pose as a shipment disguised as the river runners and take it from the inside.
She hears about it, and there's sort of a glance up the road towards the farm and a bit of a on her face. She's like, fair enough, I think it sounds like a good plan. Ingrid's like, sounds like a great plan.
Can I insight check her? If she was like,
Yeah.
about it.
Sure.
Nope. 19.
19. The mention of that farm seems to be painful. It's not a concern on her face, it's more of a, like, ouch. Well then, I suppose that we will move out in the other direction to make sure that you don't get too far away.
Thank you for your consideration.
I can't believe you went that far up the road. I just mean that I've been moving about town this morning. I haven't intentionally wanted to hurt you. Today?
I've been fine, thank you.
Good.
Listen, you don't happen to know anything about a physician that checks in on the current Lord and his advisor a few years ago?
No.
Okay.
Why?
Curious timing.
No, but if I hear anything, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you.
Right, then I suppose I will leave you to it. I will head to the other side of the town, as close as I can get to the fortress, and wait to hear from you afterwards.
Great.
Good luck. And she'll look quite pleased with her help and just turn on her heel and start walking back towards the town like, nice, didn't have to go too far.
So annoying to think if I hadn't been so shitty to her, we would probably be quite good friends.
But then we probably wouldn't be friends. All of us.
That's true. Rather you three.
I think the most annoying thing is that we're now going in the same direction, but we kind of have to wait for a few minutes for them to get ahead, otherwise we got that awkward.
We're also waiting for people to come our way first, Astra.
True.
We need to study what they look like to get the disguises right.
True.
Okay, let's just find somewhere to sit in town and wait.
While we are sitting in town, I will get out the seeming scroll and study it so I know what I'm doing with it.
Everyone can sort of spend the morning preparing, going over the plans again and again, and the blueprints of the fortress, and kind of trying to determine what rooms might be. Vanden listing off the kind of rooms that might be in a fortress, like I'm sure we're going to find an armory at some point, and they probably have some kind of vault, and they probably have some sort of cells. But other than that, how long do you wait?
I'm going to keep topping the bird up. Stop! Shut. So, the bird lasts for 3 hours, so...
Okay.
And I can do it twice, and then if I have a short rest, I have 2 more.
How long do you wait?
So, let's give it the first 2 hours. Does anything come in that time?
Nothing.
3rd hour?
Nothing.
I will top it up and do another 3.
At this point, so you sent it out there at I'd say Dawnbringers probably get up about 7 in the morning.
So through to about 10.
Yeah. Top up for the next hour, 11 AM, nothing. From where you are situated, you've probably found somewhere in the core market square or nearby with a cafe or something, so you can watch the western approach as well. Nothing. No carts pass through this way.
Anyone else getting a little antsy?
Yes, I would have thought they'd be there by now.
And if if there was a different plan and he was coming this way, surely we would have seen him, but didn't think there was any other road in.
No.
What to do?
I can send the bird out to the fortress.
Then what if we miss it?
Get it to follow the road?
We don't know where they're coming from though.
No.
This is a slight hindrance, but we do have other ways of getting in between the battering ram and the grappling hooks, and the invisibility.
And we can still use the seeming.
We've seen what they look like from your illusion. We could just go in as generic.
That could work.
Yeah.
They look like, also seeing what you saw last night with the overcoat, they do look like there's sort of a generic look to them.
Okay.
And you could probably maybe get away with doing the seeming to a certain degree.
And also, I don't want to leave it too late if DuPont's men are going in as well, because we'll have them to deal with.
Precisely.
Then let's start heading that direction then.
You don't think maybe they heard about the incoming attack in there?
With DuPont?
And they're
boarding up.
They
could be.
So just be aware that it might be worse.
They could be withdrawing into themselves, battling down the hatches.
If we start heading over there, I can send Bramble up ahead.
That's a good idea.
We're going to need a story if people immediately don't recognise us and are asking why we're there.
Okay. Well, we've got some time walking. Let's start moving, because I don't want to
waste anymore.
Might as well.
Okay. You get up from where you've been sitting all day and suddenly leap into action. Start moving across the town. Quite a hurried pace. It still takes maybe a good 40 minutes completely on foot to walk from one side of Ferguson to the other. Then you find yourself facing against the eastern road, which, as you would know from Bramble flying over that way, basically goes all the way down the eastern direction of the Chaste. So this road would inevitably go to Faustat if you stayed on it for days. And you can head out onto that road. Are you sending a familiar ahead?
I've used 2 now, so until we have a short rest, I can't do another one.
Okay.
Bramble is, though.
Bramble will go ahead. Yeah, he can just speed ahead as we walk out, and it's only a mile to the fortress. About a quarter of a mile, you catch a glimpse of this camp. You see several tents, as you saw when Bramble was flying overhead. It looks like it's the same camp. There's some men training, looks to be less than a dozen of them now, having tried to siege the walls yesterday. They're armoured and armed, and they're practicing their weapons around the camp, but they don't look heavily trained, as we can sort of weave through the trees if we want to fully avoid them. They also have horses and a mounted battering ram now on wheels.
Oh my god. Okay. I will be, like, as we're walking along, so I don't grab anyone this time, I'm using my tail more as a buoyant,
Okay.
so I don't fall over. And I'm just saying out loud what I'm seeing through Bramble's eyes as we walk.
Okay. Bramble flies ahead. Us maybe a third of a mile behind him as he picks up speed. And this camp is far enough away from the fortress and in the woods that can't see it for now, so Bramble definitely gets there first. It's still fairly early in the day as you approach, and Bramble sort of flies low along the forest floor at first, until once again through his eyes you see this large imposing fortress built of limestone. You see this thin passage towards the outcrop of rock that it sits on, and then the wooden bridge that crosses towards it. However, as Bramble gets close, you realise something is off. The huge wooden doors to the fortress are left slightly ajar. Bramble flies inside to a horrific scene. Through Bramble's senses, you can smell a pungent, almost floral smell, sickly and cloistering, flowing up into your nostrils. The air is heavy with the scent, fetid. Little motes of what look like dust float around in the air, catching the light, glinting like fireflies. As you press forward, it strikes you that coupled with the stench, these surely can't be dust. These are spores. Bramble flies forwards through a narrow stone corridor which leads to the first courtyard, just wide enough to get a cart down. At the far end is a iron portcullis, a sort of crosshatch gate that stands about 30 foot tall. And on the ground here, you see thin lines of what look like roots stretching out into the courtyard. A large, oddly shaped space with cobbled floor and walls made of hewn stone stacked together, plastered in place. In this space you can glimpse several doors and a staircase to the higher levels of the fortress, but the whole thing, unlike yesterday, looks overgrown with plant life.
It's the druid.
The smell gets more potent and foul as Bramble flies around on the inside, until it feels like a layer of oil is slicked onto your tongue. There's a sticky heat hanging in the atmosphere here, and the spores latch on to Bramble's exposed skin. You realise that the veins on the floor are slowly throbbing, like veins filled with pulsing blood, tracing intricate pathways along the ground. Some of them lead to small clusters of mushrooms, pale and delicate in the dim light. Some with soft fronded gills beneath their caps, some extending outwards like parasols or into concave dips like goblets. Others are mashed in bunches. More spores float dreamily through the air, some landing on and staining the mushrooms like golden soot. And then all at once, you catch the sight of the source of both the spores and the stench. A number of rotting bodies are strewn haphazardly before you, blanched, mottled skin and glazed hollow eyes, littered with more clusters of fungi. Several of the corpses lay doubled up as though in agony, their final resting place depicting screams and suffering. Mushrooms sprout from open mouths, spores cling to their dank hair. One of the bodies looks as though it's been torn open from the inside, a burst of plant life and toadstools blossoming out of the gaping wound. All around the corpses, these tiny veins throb and pulse. Thin strands of mycelia are connecting them all, one to the other. And then you hear the sound of something heavy dragging inside the nearest door. A wave of hot breath hits Bramble, and you hear another roar. I think that's where we'll end tonight.
Fuck off.
Holy shit. The mushrooms are taking over.
Mushroom fort. Mushroom fort. Whatever could it mean?
Mushroom fort.
Ew!
Help.
Tasty.
Help. Help.
Fort.
Suddenly mushrooms.
Suddenly mushrooms!
We hope you enjoyed that. I can't wait for all of your theories as to what the heck is going on here. I
mushrooms?
promise you, you're not right.
Oh shit.
Oh. I hope you guys have enjoyed this session.
Yes!
Thank you for DMing.
Thanks for DMing.
Thank you for playing.
Thank you.
And thank you very, very much for watching. I'm sure we'll explore Mushroom Fort some more next week. But for now, we're nyxrising. And we love you. Bye! Bye!
He does a very good job of coming out.
Thank you.
He does a very good job of coming out. Where's the cake, Astra?
Was it?
Hello saplings, it's Astra. Thank you for joining us once again. Tune in next week to find out what we've gotten ourselves in for this time. If you want to support the party's adventures, you can do so over at patreon.com/nyxrising or grab yourself some merch on Teespring. Special thank yous as always to our executive producers, Lissa, Katelyn Ferguson, Alexandra Johnson, Liam Moran, Mason Scott, Meghan Charles, Benedict Allen, Adira A, Katie B, Jay Russo, Emily Hogarth, and Jameson N. Until next time, stay true to yourself, and we'll see you on Wednesday.